Yes, yes, yes. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everyone's well. It's I can't even say the morning of the night before because the game was actually in the morning. So there's some tired eyes out here, but there's some happy faces. We're gonna get into this. Yes, yes, good afternoon, people. It's the Armoury TV. We're back with another episode. It's the reaction show to the Arsenal 4 Chelsea Chelsea nil lashes. Like it wasn't nice for them man out there. Yeah, Arsenal looked very, very good. Obviously it's the last game of the preseason tour of America. It's been quite a nice tour to watch from the sidelines. I like what they've done with having Frimpong um, kind of being like the host around the club and getting a lot of content. Brought some funnies with it. We've got an insight of what the players do. Like, do you know what I mean? We've had a couple of interviews. Yeah, it's been really nice to actually watch that on that side. And I saw AFTV talking about yesterday saying they need to do more things like this in England, where it's not just when they go on these big tours, they be a bit more open to the fans actually. A lot of the English fans would love to kind of get that close and personal with the club. And I think there was a couple of them done a quiz the other day in a local pub and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been a good tour. The camaraderie looks like it's really building. Um, and yeah, it's looking positive. It's looking really positive. But we're going to focus mainly on yesterday's game. Munzi's in the comments. I'm going to bring this up first. It's only a friendly, lads. Remember what you said to United fans saying it was only a friendly. Now, I'm going to answer first and then I'm going to let King come and have you. The difference with this one is, don't get me wrong, you lot battered Liverpool, but the first half was your first team against Liverpool second. Now, don't get twisted. Both of you switched teams and you still won 1-0 with Liverpool's main team playing and you lot had weaker team. However, that was at the start of the preseason. There's 2 weeks to go. So what you should be seeing now is teams should be near enough at full strength with what they're going to start with. And as you saw yesterday, I think 3 of our back 4 played 90 minutes yesterday. So they're now up to speed for the start of the season. Whereas at the start of the preseason, you're only really getting 45 minutes. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not saying we're going to get carried away because, yeah, Chelsea didn't look great. However, for us, it's positive signs, and we should be positive after what we saw yesterday. King, go and get him.
Listen, bro. When you play your rivals, yeah, there ain't no fucking such thing as friendly. Yeah, excuse my French, bro, because I feel especially passionate about this. Yeah, last season we lost a preseason friendly against Tottenham. You did not hear the words come out of my mouth. It's just a friendly. Yeah, when we played in this order, and I've said it on my TikTok, I actually defended Man United. I defended Man United fans, and I detest that club. I don't mind Liverpool. They're legit probably my second team. I came out to Liverpool fans saying it was just a friendly to Man United fans. I said, there's no such thing as friendlies between Liverpool and Man United. None, not one, not zero. If you are a supporter of either club and you confirm a defeat against the other for any reason, you're not a fan. You're not a fan. There are no friendlies in these games, yeah? Like, legit, yeah? If we ever lose to these clubs, Spurs, United, Chelsea, I'm not happy for any reason. Now, preseason is preseason, yeah? But all we've been hearing preseason is you legit brought up the backup striker to a team that doesn't even play a striker. You went and got Zinchenko, a backup left back, to a team that doesn't even use a left back when Cancelo's legit one of the top 5 fullbacks in the world. We're tired. We're tired of all the rubbish that people have been saying about our business this window, talking about being City's feeder club, taking their scraps. Well, guess what? This is what they're here to do. They have shown in pre-season that they're better than all these estimations that you made of them. Yeah. So that's all we're saying. Yeah. You legit have underestimated the strength of the business we've done. And these pre-season games have shown that. Now they got to go and show that in the league. Yeah. And don't be coming around me with this. It's just a friendly talk when we're playing Chelsea. yeah, because there's nothing friendly, yeah, about the rivalry at all between Arsenal and Chelsea. Point blank, period. None, nothing, zero, zero.
And if you've seen Tuchel's interview, I'm not too sure if Munzi would have seen it. Please go back and check it out because he's not happy. He's not looking at that game like it's a friendly. Some strong words were said. He was saying the team weren't ready. The team have dropped off. He's got a lot of issues. He's got 2 days before they come back to training where he's got things he needs to work on in order to get this team up to scratch. He was honest and said Arsenal look like a team that's ready to go, a team that's hungry, fighting, and showed the character that his team really lacking at the moment. So it was damning words, and what it showed you is they've got a player from City, but he didn't look like he wants to be there like what we've seen from Jesus. Jesus's passion and energy levels just is unmatched at the moment. Do you know what I mean? And not saying Sterling had a bad game. He didn't really get much service, but you can buy. To me, Sterling's the bigger name, bigger player. But in his point of his career, do you know what I mean? What's his mindset like? What's Jesus' mindset like? So I'm not trying to say Sterling's a bad signing for them, not get it twisted, but people can buy in top players, but if it doesn't fit the system, do you know what I mean? It has a negative effect. And even across the whole,
one sentence though, Gumsa, yeah. When they bought Sterling, everyone was saying Chelsea did great business. When we bought 2 City players, we were buying their rejects.
Yeah. There's a lot of narrative, and I'm not saying there's you, Munzi, but I think obviously there's been a lot being said in the last few weeks at Arsenal fans, and this is where the frustration comes from. But Munzi, you've got a comment here. Anyone going to take that bet? We finish above United. I'll take that. I'm not saying it's a foregone conclusion that we're going to finish, but I think yesterday might have gassed me up a little bit. But no, we'll talk. Hit me up. We could get that sorted. Not a problem. But now, big up yourself anyway. And you lot have had a good preseason as well, to be fair. I know obviously you drew with Villa yesterday, which was your worst kind of result. But obviously everyone's seen you beat Liverpool. Martial seems to be playing. Sancho looks like it's the Sancho that we saw in Germany. So you're not too far away. I think another winger. It looks like Anthony may be coming into you guys. And if you do get Donny or a centre midfielder, it's going to be a very, very fierce battle for that top 4 this year. I don't think we're going to see anything previously like what we're going to see this year. I think it's going to be 6 clubs really going at it for that top 4. But with that being said, Brezzy, talk to us. What you saw the starting 11 yesterday. What was your thoughts?
I thought it was a very strong lineup. I think this is probably what he's going to go into probably the first game of the season. I think Zinchenko getting 45 minutes under the belt, it's going to be great. I think he'll probably do another 45, maybe against Palace, or come on the later side of in the second half. But very happy with the starting lineup. I thought there'd be a bit more rotation. Obviously, done that in the second half. But yeah, it's a very good strong lineup. I'm quite happy with it, especially with Jesus. He's on fire.
I agree. And in terms of obviously where you're at in pre-season, like you said about the rotation, you're 2 weeks away from the start of the season. So even Emirates Cup next week, we've got 1 game. I'm expecting to see exactly the same lineup. And I'm expecting to see Jesus get through 60, 65, 70 minutes. Partey, 80. You're not going to see as much rotation now at this stage of the season. You're going to give your first 11 enough minutes to let you know that they're ready to perform 90. As you said, as I said earlier, the bench had Mari on the bench, Holden on the bench, Bellerin was on the bench. They didn't get on. Do you know what I mean? Saliba played 90. Obviously, Zinchenko then when I played 45, so I expect you'll see him play 60 in the Emirates Cup because he only had 1 training session with us before the game yesterday. Gabriel played 90. So it just shows you now Arteta's now not playing as much as everyone was saying about Bellerin was playing games before. That was just to keep him relatively fit because if you're going to sell him, he needs to have a level of fitness. Otherwise, who's going to buy him? But now it's business end of pre-season. We're getting into that first game coming soon. We've got 1 more game. I'm not expected to see much rotation next week, if I'm honest. I feel we're going to see a good, strong Arsenal team.
Just a question.
Yeah, go on.
Can we see White playing right back against Palace? So
I'll let Brenny, you take it. Brenny, what do you think?
Sorry, who at right back?
Ben
so
White.
Do you think that we're going to have Zinchenko, Gabriel, Saliba, and White as our back 4 against Palace? Or do you think Kamiashi's going to be fit?
I would think so, but I'd play Saliba at right back. He looks more comfortable right back than Ben White does. Ben White definitely looks more comfortable in the middle
Ooh.
than at right back. So yeah, I would go with that because Tomiyasu. I mean, does anyone know what's happening there? Because I don't know what's happening with him.
I think it's his calf again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, what Arteta said, Tommy is really close to start doing some training sessions, hopefully next week, and Fabio probably a little bit longer. I think he needs another week or so before he starts with the team, but he's been working hard and has been really unlucky to start his Arsenal career this way. So if you think if Tomiyasu's got another week before he starts training, that takes you to the Emirates Cup, which then means he's got 7 days to be fit for Palace. I can't see him starting.
No.
If we had a crisis at defence, then maybe. But really, honestly, would you rush him for the first game of the season? You've got Ben White to play there. You've got Cedric who can play. Bellerin is still there, and Maitland-Niles is still there. So you've got 4 players who can play. I personally wouldn't rush him because again, we still have him right down.
One thing I will say about White playing right back, I'm not comfortable with it. Against Palace last season, when we did have the injury problems that we did have after we came off that international break, Zaha absolutely tied him in knots on that side. So yeah, I think I agree with Brenny. If I was gonna do anything, it would be put Saliba, who didn't get dribbled past at all yesterday. I think I think he would be. He's much more comfortable in defensive situations when people are running at him specifically. Yeah, so I think Ben White with Gabriel in the centre would be better for me. But I also think, as an aside, I've said it all along, we should just get rid of Cedric, get rid of Bellerin, get rid of Ainsley Maitland-Niles, bring in more of an attacking right back. I think Tomiyasu is a great defensive right back. But I think, I would want us. I want us to strengthen in that area in this window. Maybe that's for a different show, but I've said that all along. I want us to get a better right back.
Jason saying last time we rushed Tommy back, we lost him for even longer towards the end of the season. And that's it. You don't want to lose him now for another 3 months from the start of the season. So for me, I agree with you guys. Ben White to me is not a natural right back. He did look quite good yesterday. I know Chelsea wasn't firing on all cylinders, and Saha is Saha. Do you know what I mean? So you have to take precaution. For me, there's a bit of the square pegs, round holes situation if you put Saliba or Ben White out there. Now, Saliba had a good game. He's not a right back. Like, he could fill in, but I'd play Cedric. I don't think Cedric's done anything wrong. Yes, he might not be as good as we want him to be, but for me, he's done nothing wrong. Even in the games earlier in preseason, he's been pretty assured. So
worry about him against Cedric.
Yeah, but he's got more about him than I think the others at right back. Again, right back is a different position. You are isolated one-on-one out there a lot. And again, you almost have to task Saka with just come back and help double up, or Partey get across. So, but I do feel sometimes you need to have your specialist in the right positions rather than. I think we all want to see Saliba play. We know Ben White's had a good season, and we all like Gabriel. So ideally, them 3 come in because you want to start as many of them as possible. However, Cedric's a natural right back, so to me, you go with what's natural out there.
But what about Zinchenko on the left? Would you start him? Would you put Quarantini in?
Zinchenko starts for me personally.
Yeah, we got to wait. Like with Tierney and Tomiyasu, we can't take risks with fitness. I think defensively Tierney's better, but it's no good to us if he's not fit for the rest of the season. I think we brought Zinchenko in now to cover for that situation, so let's use him. I think we should give Tierney as much time as he needs. I think I said the same thing last season. I've said it, every time he got injured. I just feel like we've been in too much earnest to bring players like him back to the team. And I think what we did really well with Martinelli is when we finished 8th that season and we had nothing to play for, we just legit didn't play him. It just didn't make sense to play him at that time. He wasn't playing for anything. And he came back last season strong, and he's not really got injured since. Which goes to show, when you give the player a right amount of rest, especially when they're younger, then it bodes better for them in the longer term, even if there is a pain in the short term that you've got to get through. And I think this is what this summer's been all about, like not just improving the first 11, but raising the floor of the actual squad, for when these players get injured. And I think that's got to be the next thing, Partey. same situation. We've got to put something there to make sure that when, not if, I feel it's when he gets injured, we're ready to do something about that. With all the respect to El Neni and the other players that are in the squad in midfield, these are two of our most important chess pieces. You know, Tierney and Partey, and that showed. For me, that lost us the top 4 race last season.
100%,
I don't care what no one says about Tottenham being better or this. They're not. They're not. Those players stay fit. We win just one of those games that we lost on the bounce, and we would have got Champions League football winning just one of those games that they were injured for. So,
100%. And I think with the Zinchenko deal, you see the speed that Arsenal done that showed me they know Tierney's not going to be fit for the start of the season. So actually, let's get this one over the line, because it was we got linked heavily on the Friday, and the following Friday it's signed. You know what I mean? He's out in America on a preseason tour. We got him back across, the paperwork done, medical. Do you know what I mean? Which is very un-Arsenal. Like normally we're haggling over 2 million here, 5 million there. Can I get a Kalana paying 3 installments? Can I get a Groupon discount? We didn't mess around with it. It was 30 million straight and 2 million add-ons, which is unlike Arsenal. Normally it's we try and take 10 million off that and then put that on add-ons or installments. So yeah, it's for me that showed the intensity of, all right, we've missed out on Martinez. We need to get that left back in. No nonsense. Like they said, the deal was agreed within like a day or two, wasn't it? Like the fee was agreed. I think we linked on Friday, fee agreed on Saturday, and we was off. So I think that showed me Tierney wasn't going to be ready because the sheer speed we got it done in. And that then goes into my other situation, the midfielder. So before we talk about performance, let's talk about the incoming. We've been heavily linked with a centre midfielder. Now, this one, it's a priority because I think we need better, but it's not a priority in terms of start of the season. Left back was a priority because Tierney picked up a knock. We needed someone. We got it done in a week. Centre mid, I don't think any of us would really have any major issues with it starting with Xhaka and Partey.
I do.
We saw again yesterday. I think they were really good yesterday. Really, really good. Brezzy, I'm going to come to Brezzy first. I'm going to come to you afterwards. All right. So Brezzy, what's your thoughts on those who started the season, and would that be your partnership if we don't get someone in?
I'd rather get someone in. I'd want a Tielemans or something like that in there, something that can strengthen it. I mean, Xhaka's got red cards in them all day long. We know that. We need someone that's going to sit beside Partey who can.
Just quickly, I'm not talking long term. I'm saying, obviously everything's a process. We've got to get some business done before others. It's like we've almost waited on the centre midfielder because actually that's not our weakest point right now. So left back, Tierney's injured. We need to get left back.
No, but it is though, because if you take Partey gets injured, you get Xhaka gets a red card, then you're gonna left with Samuel Lokonga and you need someone like a Tielemans that can kind of sit a bit deep if it needs to be and can bomb forward. So someone like a Tielemans is the perfect situation. So yes, we need to strengthen the midfield.
No, sorry, just quickly to say what I was saying is first game of the season, everyone's fit. If Xhaka does get a red card, we then got 7 days to go and get another midfielder in. I know we need to embed him in and whatever else. But in terms of getting business done, that to me it's an important position. But actually, I can see the benefits of getting that left back first. So if we've got to focus on Zinchenko to get it done, now we can go full hog for the centre midfielder. Do you know what I mean? Because everything else kind of around the squad looks like it's done.
We have to do it, and we have to do it before the season starts, my guy. We can't be reacting to a situation where our midfield situation against Palace cost us. Listen, I as I said, Xhaka improved massively after that red card against Liverpool towards the end of the season. If he stays, great. I think longer term, eventually we're going to have to replace him. Even if we look at his age, him and Partey are 29 years old. Partey is injury prone, and as Brezzy said, Xhaka does have mistakes in him. There was a legit situation last season where Partey was injured and Xhaka was suspended. Do you know what I mean? But
if we can take it out of context, I'm not saying my thoughts. I've always said we need to get better than Xhaka. We've gone this far, right? We've gone this far to improve our squad. Let's do everything before the season starts. Do you know what I mean? We get these guys in, get them training. You know what Tuchel said? He said we look like a team that's ready, and a lot of Chelsea fans have said we look like a team that's ready.
because we got the players in early. They've been training early. They've been understanding the implementation of the system early. To get that done early, get them training as quickly as possible. For me, I want to get Lucas Paqueta because I think he's got that bit of aggression to his game as well. I've said that the Arsenal of late, of the past decade, we've been soft touches. Like when it comes to being like imposing in a physical sense and having that technical quality and having that technical control and security of the ball, we've not had the balance right. We've just looked too much at technical security at the expense of just someone who's a bit of a bastard. Again, sorry, excuse my French, but I feel like we need that. Like, I like Tielemans, don't get me wrong, and I'm not going to turn my nose up if we do get Tielemans. But I think we need a guy that's just got a bit about him, that just asserts himself, just throws himself around a bit, like that won't take any prisoners in midfield. And if you watch Paqueta, he's got all the silk, he's got all the technique and all the guile in the world, but he's also got this nasty side, that you can take the boy out of the favelas, but you can't take the favela out of the boy kind of energy that we need, bro. Like, we need that, bro. And we don't need to wait for that. We don't need to wait for that. And if Xhaka can't deal with competing, as he said, this is football, not ballet, my friend. This is football, not ballet. Yeah. And he's the one that was coming out after we lost to Newcastle saying certain people don't look up for the task. Yeah. So he's got to be prepared to compete for his place like everyone else. And the main thing, if Partey gets injured again, I don't want to hear any talk. I don't want to hear any excuses if they don't go out and get cover for him.
I hear that. And again, just don't take out of context what my initial point was. I hear what everyone's saying. Everyone knows. I want that midfielder. Like, I've been calling it for the last 4 years. I want to upgrade on Xhaka. He is playing well, but I still feel there's a lot better playing that more advanced role because his role has changed from the start of last year to now. Like, that 8 role is a lot more advanced than what it used to be. And you've seen it. He got an assist yesterday from winning the ball high up. He also, I want to say, got the assist for the Saka goal, but obviously he was involved, had the shot on the edge of the opposition box, and Lokonga come on and replaced him and scored at the back post. So that role, we used to have 2 pivots, is changing in front of us every week. That player is getting a lot higher, and Partey's bossing that midfield. So I do think there's a lot better than Xhaka out there. My initial point is just, if we saw the numbers with Xhaka and Partey last season, we saw I haven't got the slide with me, but the amount of points we won with those two is the midfield. It's, again, plug in certain areas before we address that. We're not saying don't address it, and I understand everyone's point about getting them in early. But again, Zinchenko came in under one session yesterday and had a great 45 minutes. So if you get the right mold of player, it might not be that long a bedded in system. My thing is just, if that was the centre midfielder partnership to start the season, yes, we still got to go and address it. But would you be mad, Brenny, if you saw Xhaka and Partey against Palace?
Yeah, I you know what? I agree with everything you guys just said. And for me, I want us to, it could be those midfielders, the midfielders we're linked with. I just want Arsenal to see if we can get some business done quickly, like the Zinchenko deal was quick. But I just want us to get business done before the Emirates Cup. And even if it's 1 midfield, 2 midfielders, I don't care. If we can get in one of those midfielders in this week, give them 45 minutes in Emirates Cup. That's what I'm looking at, and get them ready for Palace. They've probably already played pre-season at their respective clubs, so they're getting their match fitness, and that's what I want to see. I don't want to see Xhaka and Partey together with the Palace game, because I just feel that it's like, granted, Xhaka, there's a yellow card in him, there's a red card in him. I just don't want him to lose it at Selhurst Park. Whereas I know Partey's the one who'll hold it together, and I'm sure he could boss that midfield. But I'd rather see El Neni next to Partey.
Wow. My thing is as well, even if we get that midfielder, so just say we got Paqueta, I think everyone would be happy with that. Yeah. I just don't think he starts. Even if he comes in tomorrow, I just don't think he starts that Palace game.
But the thing is, look, if we do need the game to be influenced and changed, the guy's there.
That's the main thing.
As Brenny said, he's had the 45 minutes. Yeah. And if we do need something else, something a bit more, then he's there. We don't have to then come out of the game and go, well, yeah, with hindsight. I'm tired of hindsight, bro. I'm tired of it. This is Arsenal Football Club, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? We've had all the hindsight we need to know that, yes, for 25, 30 games, that partnership's going to work. But for 7 or 8, and you don't know when those 7 or 8 games going to be, either Partey's going to get injured or Xhaka's going to get a red card or both. Yeah.
Also, the thing about Tielemans is that he actually
deal for it
shoots
now. Plan for it now. Cater for it now. As Brenny said, get the guy in. Give him 45 minutes. Get him training for a week, because that's the main thing. Yeah. The match fitness has been built up at their respective clubs, but the respective clubs use different systems. Do you know what I mean? Different styles of play, different patterns of play. Give them the 2 weeks, or however, give them as much time as they need before the business end of the season starts, to actually understand what it is to be an Arsenal player, to put the cannons above your chest and to actually play for this club. Yeah, and to actually understand our tactical style of play and our formations and our setup. And if they are needed to be called upon, that person is sat there on the. I'm not saying to bring a player in and start them in that game over Xhaka and Partey. I'm saying have them there if they are needed, because they are needed in this squad. They are needed, whether it's for that game or whether it's for the fact that you've got 5 subs now, not 3. Whether it's the fact that it's a World Cup year, and whether it's the fact that, let's be real, since Xhaka has been there, we've not been a Champions League outfit.
Just a quick thing on that, though.
Yeah, go on, Brezzy. Go on, Brezzy.
Throw that in the party.
King, let Brezzy go. King, let Brezzy go.
So Tielemans, 30 million. Once Arsenal move, he was a boy. He's come out and said that he not supports Arsenal, but he's watched Arsenal from when he was a young age. He's there, impact sub, so you can easily bring him on and give him 45 minutes in the Seville thing. And the good thing about Tielemans is that he actually shoots from outside the box. How many times have we seen Partey skim it into the top tier? So, we can actually have that kind of goal threat from midfield. Yes, Xhaka does it, but he does it once a season. We need goals from midfield. We can't keep relying on Saka, Odegaard, and Jesus. We need that goal from midfield. When was the last time we actually had a midfielder that actually scored goals?
Yeah, I think Tielemans isn't and this is why I want Savage, and I think this is probably why King wants Paqueta, because Tielemans will give you 4, maybe tops, 4 or 5, whereas I think Savage, Paqueta, them guys will probably hit you at least, let's say 8. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to oversing it, and it's almost like we need that Ramsey style midfielder, one that's going to break the lines. And we saw it with Lukonga's goal. I'm not too sure how much you've seen of it. Again, I've watched it back this morning, and I did wonder how he floated into so much space. And again, if you look at the Chelsea setup, Reece James is actively looking at Marquinhos at the time, so he's really wide for some reason. He should be tucking in, but it's just that element of a midfielder who's just going to break the line and just get in behind, and he's in acres of space. You know what I mean? And we've missed that. For me, it's like we've been a bit too rigid with our 2 centre midfielders. So I think Tielemans will be a good one. I think we've all seen the attacking options, but King said a very good point. If Partey gets injured, there's a massive drop off. I think El Nene steps in now if Partey's out. But who would you want? Because I get Tielemans could play a 6, but can they play it like how Partey plays it? We've seen when he plays it, it's different.
The point I'm saying is that you can't not address both those issues. I feel like before the season starts, we either need to get back up for Partey or the replacement for Xhaka. I don't care which it is. One of the two has to be there before that Palace game. At least I'll sat on the bench.
I think the replacement for Partey is probably more important. I think other people can step into Xhaka's role a bit easier than someone stepping into Partey's role. And I think that's the big difference. Who would you play there? Or who would you go for, Brenny? Who would be the one for you for Partey's role? That deep lying playmaker who's going to transition our ball. Because he does it the best out of everyone. Let's not sugarcoat it.
He does. It's a tough one, because I couldn't even tell you right now who we can get in. Because Partey for me is probably one of the top 5 midfielders in the Premier League when he's on fire. I mean, I can't even think of a centre midfielder now that could actually do the job he can do. So, I mean,
is he frozen? I think Reddy's frozen. And in terms of what he's saying, I do think top 3 defensive midfielders is Rodri, Fabinho, and Partey. For me, they're the top three. Hopefully he comes back in a minute. But yeah, what about you, Brezzy? Is there a centre midfielder who you would like to get in? So obviously we all like the look of Tielemans, but I do see him playing a bit more advanced. We know he can play the deeper position, but don't think he's as strong as Partey in that.
Well, there's one, but we'll never better get him, and that's Ndidi.
Ooh.
I think he'll definitely strengthen. If it's
do you think he can transition the ball well though? That's the thing with Partey. He does both jobs really well, isn't he?
You've got Odegaard, you've got Vieira, you've got Martinelli, Saka. These all you need to do is get a good pass into one of them. They can then do the rest.
But this is the issue. We saw Odegaard's form dip massively last season when Partey was out because no one was able to get him the ball in the pockets he needs it. So that person who's going to get the ball deep off the centre backs, beat the first, and then get that ball into Odegaard's, the Smith Rowe, to then operate. That's the importance of the role. It's not just breaking up the ball. It's not breaking up the play because we got players who could do that. It's that intelligence and that confidence to get on the ball and make those passes to get Odegaard and them guys fly. Because you see the difference with Odegaard when Partey's playing compared to when he's not playing.
Two players.
Go on.
Sangara. He's definitely one. If you've watched him, like in the Dutch league, the Dutch league is very possession based, and a lot of their, Ten Hag doesn't even play with a 6. He plays with 2 8s. You know what I mean? Like that's what a lot of teams in Holland do. So he's a guy that is box to box, but can break up the play, can drive with the ball, can pass with both feet. He can shoot as well from distance. Got a mean shot on him. And he's not going to cost a lot. He fits the mold of what we're doing, bringing in young up and coming players with a high ceiling. So yeah, I will go get him. If this one, the big one for me, and this guy, I've said, I'd rather, if you said to me that this is the only other midfielder we're going to get this window, I would be happy. It's Benassar, Ismail Benassar, yeah, from AC Milan, who was on our books. Was integral playing this exact role, as you're saying, not just breaking up the play, but getting the ball forward, driving forward with the ball as well. He can play as an 8 or a 10. He's that good on the ball. Do you know what I mean? But obviously, like, he can play as a 6 as well. So, in a 4-3-3, and he can definitely play as the 6 or the 8. In the 4-2-3-1, he can play in any of the positions centrally. But obviously, I would play him deeper. So I think he fits the mold of tactical fluidity. If you've noticed, Arteta's been bringing in players that can play in 2 or 3 positions, or in 2 or 3 ways in which we set up. That, for me, as the midfielder, we should really go and get. And if we didn't get Tielemans, we didn't get Paqueta, we didn't get Savic, for me, because Partey getting injured happens more frequently than Xhaka getting a red or a yellow card, he's more important to me. And if Xhaka does get the red card, he can play next to Partey, and you will not get past that wall of those two ever. Yeah. Like, and you can get the ball to Odegaard, as you're saying. Like when Odegaard does need the ball, he's very, very good on the ball. A third one, Fabian Ruiz, who for Napoli, again, 1 year on his contract, very similar to Benassar in terms of what he can do. He got like a lot of goals and assists for Napoli last season as well.
I don't see him as a 6 though. He's more again of advanced player. But Brezzy, you was going to say something just now.
I was just saying about Gunnar was saying about AC Milan. What about Sandro Tonali?
I like Tonali.
I like him. Yeah.
He's young. He's good. He will cost you probably about 30 or 40 million.
I think it'll be more.
Fine. But I think he'll be a good shout.
He's another good player. Yeah, he's another very good player.
Like he's AC Milan through and through, though. Proper Milan boy, innit? So I think now that they've just won a title and they've got Champions League, I think he'd be more difficult to get. Whereas Benassar actually has the affinity with Arsenal, and from the reports that I saw, it was like he could be interested. Because of the the unfinished business element. And he obviously come through our youth setup, so he just knows the club. I really want us to go get that player, and he would be genuinely 30 to 40 million as well. And he's like 24, 25 as well. So he's got that.
He fits the mold.
Yeah,
I think he might be younger than 25. To be fair, I think he is about 23. maybe, but he does fit the mold. And Tonali, again, Brezzy, very, very good player, cultured player, isn't he? Again, it's just I'm not too sure physically how he would cope with the Prem, but we say this a lot. Sometimes we overstate the Premier League. You know what I mean? And the physicality, yes, it is physical, but if you're technically gifted, then you bypass that. As I said, I remember Adam Lallana absolutely dominating us at the Emirates Stadium, playing
We're
centre
looking at
midfield.
Melo.
He's always been an attacking midfielder. Yeah, again, it could be that's an option in order to save a bit of money to then bring in the other targets. Do you know what I mean? So I'm for one, I said this year, I'm not going to get onto any links that we're trying to bring in because actually Arteta and Edu seem to be getting it a lot more
what's
correct
weird?
than wrong.
Middle of the pre-season, Torreira's gone to Italy. Torreira's in Italy at the moment, and they said it's for personal reasons. But I'm hearing that we might swap Torreira for Artemele of Juventus.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at it.
Look, Torreira doesn't want to be here. He wants to be in Italy. Melo wants to be here, and there you go. I see a way out there.
I wouldn't be mad at it. I wouldn't be mad at it if it was a 1 year loan each. To swap each other, swap players for a year, see how he gets on. Again, you never, as I said, for me, Edu and Arteta are getting it more correct than more wrong. Over the last 2 seasons, I can feel only one player they've got wrong, which is Willian. Everything else, to me, yes, Lokonga didn't have the greatest of years, but you can see there's a player there. Same as Tavares, you can see there's a player there. So the only one I would say they got wrong is Willian. So if that's what they want to go and get, then you have to just trust it. But let's move on to the front three now, because again, this is where the excitement starts to begin building. Yeah, Brenny, how was that front three looking for you? You excited by it?
Do you know what? I am. I've never seen. I can't remember the last time I've seen such energy. From all three of them, and we're going to be getting that a lot this season because I'll tell you what, them defenses are going to be. Hold on a minute, better not mess with this front three. You know what I mean? Because and I think there will be some of that fear. I think not for most games. I think when they're in that tunnel and they see that front three, it'd be like, oh boy, we're gonna have a game today. We're gonna have we're really gonna be in. You know what I mean? I want us to get that fear back, not just through our front three, but through the entire team. Like years before, even back in the Highbury days. And what I love about with Gabriel Jesus, it's not just what he brings to the team's goals. The pressing, oh my goodness me, I haven't seen pressing like that since Ian Wright. And when I remember watching Wrighty at Highbury, every game you see him live, you see him on the TV. Ian Wright's chasing every ball. He's chasing every ball. Lost causes. That's Ian Wright. And
they're almost like dogs, aren't they? The way they hunt sometimes.
Yeah.
They never give you a second. And Chelsea are an accomplished team, and you see the amount of mistakes they made yesterday trying to play out and just not having a second to breathe. And
exactly. And something you touched on earlier on with regards to spaces here, Gumsa, is that I couldn't believe the amount of space we had yesterday. I was like, wow.
And a lot of that comes down to just desire, don't you agree? Like just to want to do it. Like we can all sometimes on the pitch you can see things, and it's just that I want to get into that space rather than a defender's thinking I don't want to track you back in there. And I think that's the hunger Arteta's installing in some of these players. And I think Gunnar King, you said on the last stream, I think it was either you or Niger, when they were saying actually Zinchenko and Jesus coming in and them working like dogs, it's going to be infectious for the rest of the team because they've done that under Pep.
Yeah.
If you played with the best team in England for the last how many years, and that's how you have to work, then actually we're cheating if we're not going to join you with that. And again, the goal came from that. Both Gabriels are pressing. Chalobah, he's managed to get out, and then he's tried to fizz a pass into midfield and just mistimed it. Again, that's because he's under pressure. If he's under no pressure, he makes that pass easy. But the pass then ends up with Xhaka with a good first-time pass to Jesus, and what a finish that was. Like, it made me... I'm watching it, and I'm saying, I used to defend Lacazette to a certain degree, and it was like, I can't defend him because Lacazette in that position there. It's just the audacity, the technique. He really disguised it. It just looked like he was going to open up his body, and he's just caressed it over the keeper. And Mendy's a big boy, and it's even to have the confidence to do that. Brezzy, is that like the best goal you've seen this preseason from Arsenal? And how does it make you feel seeing a striker who's now finishing but got the work rate to match?
Yeah. I mean that goal was it reminds me of the Saka goal that he's last year, where he literally flipped it over and hit the back bar and went in. I think that's and everyone was like, "Oh, he didn't mean to do that. He didn't mean to do that. It was supposed to be a cross." Do you remember the goal?
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me of that goal. That was beautiful. And then Sambi's header, that was just lovely, straight in. But I think it's really the top. I think it's our front four that's going to cause a lot of issues. Because if you saw like the game yesterday where Martinelli broke the lines, he just ran and ran, and then there was Saka on the right who's just bombing with him. You've got Jesus on the left that had so much pace. There was no one really there. He didn't end in the goal, unfortunately. But you think you're going to run the defense for 70 minutes with those three, take off Jesus, put Eddie on there. He's going to do exactly the same thing. You're thinking like, when are we going to get a break? And then if you take, say, keep Jesus off, but put Jesus on the left, take Martinelli off. Again, you've got so much pace there that it's literally going to be relentless for the defenders. It's got the same thing what Brenny was saying. You're going to stand in next to them in the lineup, you're going to go, oh, God, what's today?
Yeah. As I said, I played defence, so there's nothing worse than when you know who you're playing against, and this guy's run you for 60 minutes, and you're tired, and all of a sudden his number comes up, you think, hallelujah. Yeah. And then you see someone just as sharp and quick. And let's not get twisted. Not saying Eddie Nketiah is Gabriel's level, but what Nketiah is going to give you is something similar to Gabriel, where he's going to run you. He's going to look to get in behind. You know what I mean? So it's fearful as a centre back. You're thinking, not again.
But, and there's also this was like Ryan Giggs said when he was in the line when he's playing for Manchester United. It's all about a psychological thing. The game was done before it even started. You kind of get that aspect back into Arsenal, where we've got the front four there. The team's going to be like, oh God, no, not today. And then that's already kind of a psychological thing defeated, and then you go out there do all your pressing.
So in terms of, obviously, looks like for you, Brenny, is that the three you would go with at the start of the season? Martinelli, Saka, and Jesus.
Without a doubt, and also, I find that with Gabriel, with Eddie Nketiah, I find the energy he's shown in pre-season, it's been tremendous. I think, I've been impressed with him, and I just think it's the Gabriel Jesus factor is rubbing off on all our forwards right now. Gabriel Martinelli, that's just him anyway, because that's what he does week in, week out, and I find that with ESR. When you bring ESR in, I think that same energy will pass on to ESR, and you'll see a better ESR next season as well, because they're all fighting for those places as well. So we need the healthy competition.
Definitely. And King, for you,
did you see that comment that Jesus said about Martinelli?
No,
I don't see that.
No, he said he's absolutely savage. He said that all he does is run. This is in training games. He said all he does is run, and that's all he does. Jesus said he's an absolute savage. So if you've got him coming out saying that about Martinelli, then it's clear there's a player there.
He's full of praise for Nketiah as well, wasn't he? In the interview, saying how much he's enjoyed playing with him. And they just seem to be on a telepathic understanding of how each other plays. And they play similar, so they probably both know what each other likes and where they want the ball and when they want to receive it. So even now, I was speaking to Nigel, and I was saying actually ESR's injury is probably come at a bad time for him because he hasn't been able to get the minutes in. And actually, Martinelli starts for me, and one of the first subs I'll be making, depending on how Jesus is playing, is Nketiah comes on the left wing. So Smith Rowe is going to have to fight, not even for the starting 11, he has to now fight for being the first sub. Because at the moment, if Jesus is playing well and I need to make a change, it's probably Nketiah coming on. And even if he plays on the right or left, he's probably coming on before ESR at this moment in time. So ESR has got a big battle on his hands. Again, luckily there is 5 subs.
On the left as well.
Yeah, again, he hasn't played, so we'll see. But again, 5 subs will help them guys.
Yeah.
However, that 3 at the moment looks, again, Saka's only been training for 2 weeks, and he already looks he's right up for it. The way he dropped the shoulder on Alonso to start that third goal, yes, it was offside, so we're not going to get too carried away. He was offside for the finish, but again, sometimes you just got to look at the build-up play. Do you know what I mean? And the way we cut them open, the overload on one hand side, they played with 5 at the back, and Martinelli had so much space because Xhaka was able to take the ball off the line. He beat Alonso, which means the other centre back's got to come across, which means everyone has to shift. All of a sudden, Xhaka's nice and high, so the right back has to tuck in and watch him, which leaves Martinelli open on the other side. And when Reece James didn't tuck in and to pick up the midfielder, we saw Lokonga score a goal from that same area where Reece James should have been, but he was so frightful of then the right winger, he's then gone out. So again, it just shows you the importance of movement, importance of beating that first man, because that offsets the opposite team and it drags players out of position. But yeah, sorry, King, for you.
Like Saka draws fenders in. So obviously, as he's running down the wing, he draws fenders in, which creates the space for Martinelli or Jesus in mid or the left to then have that space.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's what you need.
Yeah, King, with you. So again, it does look like we are going to target an attacking style of player. Paqueta can play across the kind of front three as well as playing as an 8. He's quite versatile. What would you be looking for? I think it's pretty known. It's going to probably be on the right-hand side. We're going to try and get a player because we have got Martinelli, ESR on the left, and I just don't think Arteta fancies Pepe long-term. Don't know if Reece Nelson's ready, and Marquinhos is relatively new and young. So what would you be looking for just to help Saka a little bit, just to give him, because he didn't get the rest he needed last year? Or would you go with the striker option, bringing a different kind of number 9, because we've seen Nketiah can play out wide and Jesus played a lot of the time on the right-hand side last year. So again, we were able to rotate them two around in order to get Saka his break. What would be your preference?
I would like to do both. I've said personally, I think you touched on it. You said that Nketiah and Jesus are quite similar. Like Jesus is like just the more developed version of Nketiah. Like that gets in people's faces, that is good in the box. Good poaching instincts. But I think we're missing a trick a bit with a striker that is more of a traditional 9, like your Nunez is or your Haaland. That kind of guy that can like give you a bit more aerially when you're putting balls into the box as well, and that just gives you a bit more physicality. A bit more of a physical edge. I've said that all window. I'm really annoyed that we let Scamacca go to West Ham for 30 million.
Yeah, it's cheaper than we thought.
Yeah,
first they were talking 50s, weren't they?
But I'll tell you what I'm looking at now. I'm looking at, we won't do both. So I think a good halfway house between the two is Cody Gakpo, who we've been linked to from PSV. Now, he's a tall, strong guy, but he actually plays wide, mostly on the left. But you can use both his feet, so he's played on the right. And he's also played as a central striker for PSV as well. So he could fill, again, young player, has technical security, good finisher. He's good creatively as well. But he fits the mold of what I've been saying with Arteta bringing in players this window that have tactical fluidity to be able to cover in a number of positions, whether it's left, right, or as the central main striker. So I think he's the perfect option. Go get him. Like you won't pay more than 40 million for him. You won't. So I think, look, Leeds were linked to him as a replacement for Rafinha. For me, we've been in talks with PSV a long time, and his representatives. We've shown interest in him for a long time. For me, I feel that's a transfer we can just go and get done, no questions asked. Put the money on the table, do what we did with Zinchenko, get him there before the start of the window, and give him 45 minutes. If I would love for us to go. I don't think we'll get him before the Emirates Cup, but I know that we are looking at a mystery wide player. And I've been seeing the links really intensify with Gakpo, and I think Gakpo really excites me as a player. I just think he ticks all those boxes. Young player, tactical fluidity, best years in front of him, and I think that way you've got someone who can fill in the wide areas, someone that can fill in as the striker, and you can put more of the focus on the central midfielder. Go get Paqueta as well, and then I think if you got those two. That and you didn't get cover a right back, even though I think that's something we need to do. I would understand. I'd be like, fair enough.
I do feel the right back thing we do. We haven't to anyone. I think again something might come up and make sense nearer the end of the, because again you never know what's going to happen. There's going to be merry-go-rounds towards the transfer deadline. So something might pop up and you think actually it makes sense to go and do it. Or again it could be like, let me get someone on loan for a season with option to buy. But I think I do like the look of Gakpo. Also, we've been linked with Sane. Again, he did start the other day. I would love him. I think he's
I like
unbelievable.
Sane.
Just play more on the left, but
Too much.
unbelievable.
Too much.
But again, it's got to make sense.
I think if we got Sane, we don't get a central midfielder. That's what my concern would be. You know, like,
yeah.
And also,
I think it's when you say, again, it could be you make your saving on bringing in Arthur, which then means you can then pump more into one area. So I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Again, it'd be interesting to see what the board do. But someone like Sane, I would go on and say actually in his prime when he's firing, he's better than everyone we've got at the moment in them areas. I love Martinelli, but Sane
concerning.
Pardon?
I feel like his injury record is concerning, Sane, man.
I haven't really seen it much in Germany. If I'm honest, I haven't. I don't really follow. I follow it, but I don't look into who's playing what games. I just watch highlights and stuff of European football.
He's had some injuries as well.
Yeah,
Not like as much as he's at City, but
yeah.
I mean that's the whole point. Like the Prem's more physical, and that's where he had a big injury problem. So
time will tell. I just think he's a player I wouldn't turn my nose up at. Like definitely,
I'd rather get Gakpo and someone else than just Sane. And I feel like if we got Sane, that's it. Our business is done, and we're going to be short in centre of midfield. Like we showed last season, United had a better squad with better players, but it had more gaps. And I'm all about covering gaps, and then we'll worry about the world class finishing touches in the future. I feel like that's the route we need to take. Complete the squad and then put on the finishing touches. Don't do it the other way around.
TikTok Lacazette saying he wants Max Aarons as a backup. I can't see a right back coming in. From all honesty, I think you've got enough who will cover that position. In all honesty, so just quickly go through. Brezzy, who was your man of the match yesterday?
Martinelli.
Yeah, Brenny.
I know Jason's got it, but I just thought Martinelli, he just ran and he done everything. He created, he does everything that a wide forward needs to be. So for me, it would be Martinelli.
Brenny.
I'll go with Martinelli as well. I was very impressed with him yesterday. Last night.
Gunner King.
I'll go with either Odegaard or passing. I feel like they really helped us control the centre of midfield. Martinelli was excellent as well, don't get me wrong, but it's just the way that the manner, the first half, it was all Arsenal, mate. And they really bossed. And for me, I've always said I'm of the mantra of he who controls the midfield controls the game, and I felt they really, really, really imposed themselves. Both physically and technically with how they controlled the ball and what they did with possession, and that allowed everything else to happen in front of them. So, probably Odegaard.
I think Odegaard was sauce in the last 2 games. He's been unbelievable. I'm gonna give mine to Arteta though. I think this game made a statement, and again, we talk about attracting players. Not saying people are going to come off the back of a game. But if you've got a decision to make, just say Tielemans, Chelsea say actually we want to go for him, you might look at that game and think Arsenal look like a team on the up, whereas Chelsea look all over the place. You would listen to what the manager said, and he's saying, I don't know who wants to stay. There's a lot of players that are out there who have got their minds on other clubs, and you look at what Arsenal are doing now, and it bodes well. Do you know what I mean? You watch that fluidity, the way they played, the intensity. If you're a player looking in from the outside, like Tielemans now, you might be thinking, why ain't Arsenal come in for me yet? Okay, I'll get an offers here, there, and everywhere. He might be looking and think, nah, I just need to go there. As a footballer, you ever sat on the sidelines watching the game and think, I would love to play in that team. I would love to be able to do what I want to do in that. So I think it shows what Arteta's trying to build. It shows some of the reasons why we faltered, because we haven't had the personnel to carry out. Again, the high press yesterday, Chelsea couldn't get out. And then when we needed to go and sit in a bit in the second half and hit them on the counter, we was able to do that. So tactically, he's got them right. And obviously, the players have to deliver on the tactics. But what you're starting to see is, I think me and you were saying that last year, Gunnar, is you can't judge Arteta too much because he sorted the defence out and that looks better. He hasn't really touched on the attack and midfield yet. And now he's starting to do that. You're starting to see a little bit more of what he wants to do with that team. We've got Ozzy Gooner here saying Tielemans is a must in this squad. So yeah, from the outside looking in, Brezzy, how what do you think is looking like for other players who may be linked to Arsenal, it now looks like a place you want to go and play your football.
Yeah, I think it shows that the players that there's definitely a plan in place with Arsenal. I think last season kind of showed the very beginning of it, and I think now this summer there's kind of shown we're going out, we're getting the targets that we want, we've improving our football. I think the preseason has kind of shown that. We're rotating the squad, so everyone's getting a fair shout. But I think if you're a player that's linked and you're looking in, I think it's that's something that I want to be going into because they're clearly building something and it's only going to get better. So if you get someone like a Gapo or a Tielemans that's saying, yeah, I want to go to Arsenal. And, that could then build on for next season and hopefully top 4 challenging, hopefully.
Yeah. What about you, Brenny? Outside looking in, as an Arsenal fan as well, how are you feeling about this season now? Like, are you excited, a bit more excited?
A lot better than I was a month ago because we were linked with so many players thinking, what's going on? What's happening? You know what I mean? And we've made strides. It's been a better window than it was last season, personally. And I feel for this season, I feel we can challenge with top 4. But I just want us, like I said to you a few weeks ago, I want us to at least, let's just challenge. Just go to go to places where we don't normally get victories, like the Etihad or Anfield, and places. Let's just, all I can say to the team is just give 100%, give 100%. If we've given those teams a battle, and if we lose 2-1, I'm not going to moan about it. So I feel we can get top 4 this season, but also let's just everyone wants to challenge, and I think we can. I think we can challenge. I'm not saying we're going to win a league, but I think we can challenge.
I think we're going to close the gap a little bit more. Again,
that's what I mean. Yeah.
And I was on another stream the other day, and the question came up about top 4 of Arsenal. I said I'm not going to put my expectation on top 4 at the moment. Even with Arteta's job, it's very easy to say if he doesn't get top 4, he needs to get sacked. But actually, I think if we end up 10 points better off and still get 5th, I can't be that mad at him because it means Tottenham or United have improved by 10, 15 points as well. Do you know what I mean? So you have to look at it a bit different. If we close the gap on City and Chelsea but still end up 5th, it just means we're the 5th best, but actually we're a lot better than where we were. And I think we can't be reactionary to say if he doesn't get top 4, he's out. I think we have to look at it in terms of points. Again, he might address all the issues. So like Gunnar King saying, he's not got no excuse. If we don't get a DM, we've got no excuse. But actually, imagine if we get a DM and him and Partey both get injured, that's now out of Arteta's control. Do you know what I mean? So there's going to be some things that happen in the season which you can't foresee. And again, it might be someone else drops off. Chelsea might not recover and we could sneak in. But I think we need to look at the points at the end of the season, and that's how we should really grade it. Because if you look at what Tottenham have done in this window, they might not have spent as much money-wise, but they've brought in a lot of good players. United look like they're going to keep going. Chelsea are going to now throw money, I think. I don't think they're going to wait around. And obviously, you've got Liverpool and City. So this 6 is probably the most competitive top 6 we've seen. But
West Ham either.
Yeah, they're silently actually. They're silently.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Getting a few people in. Man. Yeah. But Gunnar, I don't know about you. Obviously, I know me and you actively go to quite a few games in the season. After yesterday, I went straight on the Arsenal website trying to get more tickets, and Leicester, I couldn't get none. So, does watching that kind of game make you want to be at the stadium more next year? Like, does that really bring an energy and vibe? Like,
I will be. I'm going to the Emirates Cup game next week.
Yeah, same as that.
Sevilla. Are you saying Leicester tickets are sold out?
Yeah, I went on there earlier. I couldn't find any, man, and there's no one else has been put up as yet. So yeah, I'm gonna see fussing retailers, but
I'm gonna be going to more home games. I didn't realise that they had already put out
I think the home first few. Yeah, only a few have come out so far. I'm only a Red member, so I have to wait for the slim pickings, don't I? But
I'm a Red member as well. I might upgrade it throughout the season, but I'll be going to a lot more games. Guys, I'll be, who are watching, I'll be at the game next week at the Emirates Cup. If you want to leave a comment in the video, smash the likes if you haven't already. Leave a comment, say where you're going to be. You want to get on. I'm going to be just making some content for the page as well. I mean, for the channel, as well as my TikTok. So yeah, I'll be about. Probably bump into a few other guys, probably the AFTV people and all that. See what's up, and yeah, I'm going to be going to a lot more games. Like, because this is what I was saying, man. Like, I got into it with a Liverpool fan on TikTok. He was trying to say there was like Sports Bible. Sky like did like this fan hope survey of 1,500 people and said we had the worst atmosphere in the Prem, and he was using that as gospel. I was like,
Yeah.
brother, my guy, if you were at that Wolves game last season when Lacazette got the last minute winner, like I was there, mate. If the North London derby at home, like when we smashed them off the park, our atmosphere has improved dramatically
Mm.
dramatically last season because we're now bought into the players that they're bringing in and
Mm.
the effort that the Kroenkes are showing. I don't even like saying this because
He was
I,
definitely
I,
a cronky out guy.
you know what I mean? Like this proves, yeah, that I have no agenda with anyone, yeah. Like because for me, they've been the biggest blocker to Arsenal being the club we should be for a long time. But I can't complain about what they're doing. They're investing. They're buying good young players. And those young players were the players that got me back into the stadium for the first time in years. I wasn't sat there thinking we're going to win the league or that we're going to win the Champions League or even that we'll get top four. I was like, you know what? They're giving everything. Those
Yeah.
players are going out. Those kids are going out and they're showing some of the senior players what it means to wear the badge. And I like that. I
Sure.
like that. I
Just
respect
a quick
that. Yeah.
question off
And
the
as
back
long
of
as
what
they
you're
do the
saying.
right things, yeah, the players that we brought in, and that's what they're doing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for me, that for me has made the atmosphere a lot better,
Yeah.
and
Just
you're going to see
quickly,
that.
I'm going to come to you, Brenny. I know you're an experienced Arsenal fan. So a lot's been said about the appointment of Arteta. Um, Now, I'm not going to say on the pitch or off the pitch. Just take it away from that. I'm talking about the actual rebuild. Do you feel Cronkies have made a correct decision? Because again, we could have performed better on the pitch at times. But again, we're not in interviews. So some of them guys coming in would have said, I could take this squad that we've got now and get you top four. And someone like a Conte, a Pep, Klopp could probably do that with the squad we had. Arteta's philosophy was different. Like, we need to get rid of a lot and rebuild this team again. And now you're looking at it. Do you think the Cronkies have made the correct decision in not just bringing someone in who can stabilize us at that time and make what we had better, but actually someone who said, no, I'm ripping it up. I want to start again. Do you feel, and again, it's the contrast between Emery and Arteta. Emery was a better coach at the time. Do you know what I mean? He's got so much experience. He wins the UEFA Cup for fun. A bit more time, he might have got a bit more out of the Arsenal squad. But do you think the Cronkies made the correct decision in actually believing in these two young guys who's kind of, you know what I mean, Arteta's first job, Edu's second job? Do you think they made the correct decision in doing that and actually starting the rebuild when we did?
Well, I think at the time, no. But now looking at it, like I said, I'm not Arteta's biggest fan, but I just want him to prove me wrong. And I'll tell you what, I'm not knocking him or Edu's window. I think it's been a fantastic window so far. No doubt about
Mm.
it. And that's all you want. I'm not one of those. I'm not one of those fans that's it's just gonna moan and moan and moan and moan. Well, no. If they're proving me wrong, they're proving me wrong. I'll come
Mm.
out. I'll praise them because I
Yeah,
think they're doing very well in this window. They're
yeah.
doing
And again,
very, very well. You
I
know what I
think
mean?
it's what you. Sorry, I think this window isn't just a spurt like, oh my god, we got 200 mil, let's do it. I think this has been the planning of Arteta and Edu from 2 years ago when they took over. It was very
Yeah,
much we need to get rid, clear the books, clear the halls, clear the decks, get rid. Don't even want money for Mustafi. Don't want money for this player. Just get him
yeah,
out now. Save. Now all of a sudden, now I've got the space to bring players in. I've got the FFP space to bring players in on good contracts. Now I can give Saka 150. Like
yeah,
I think it's been meticulous planning. And again, yes, we could have done better on the pitch in that time. With what we had, we still could have done better.
yeah,
However, I think the project, this is the project. What we're seeing now is the kind of stage 3 of the project, isn't it? Um,
yeah.
and yeah, Brezzy, what about you? Do you feel the board made a good decision actually in almost forcing the project rather than allowing players just to leave and then have to? I think United are having to rebuild because they've been poor. Do you know what I mean? And players are walking out. They're having to they're forced to into a rebuild, whereas we've kind of planned for a rebuild. Do you think now looking back on it was a good decision?
So I was a bit like the same as Brenny. So when it was first announced, Mikel was appointed. I wasn't a fan of it, not because I don't like him as a player or as a manager. It's just because that he was inexperienced. I just felt that the job that we had was such, it needed a more experienced manager. But then saying that, as to where we are now, he's done the hard stuff, just get the players out, clear the books, like you're saying. He's now brought the players in who are wanting to fight for the badge, who are showing passion on the pitch. It's like the game against City at Arsenal. That was such a fight, such a intensity. And that's, as fans, that's all we can sit there and ask. And Mikel's got that into the team. So as of the moment, yes, I think it was a good decision that of appointing him. I just think he now needs to, next year or maybe the year after, start delivering and start closing that gap even further, and then start challenging. But yeah, I think the Europa League is probably going to be our best option for top Champions League football.
Fair enough. And what are you going to King? I said you've been very, very critical of the Cronkies. You've put the blame where it needs to be a lot of the time. When blame was on, Wenger. When the blame was on Emery, you stayed strong. No, the blame should be on the Cronkies. Do you feel, just on that decision alone of bringing in Arteta and Edu, two kind of relatively unknown people in the game, in them kind of roles, do you think they've actually made a very, very good decision? Because we've seen it down at United where they bring in big managers all the time. We've seen Tottenham, like they seem to be getting it right now with Conte, but they brought in Mourinho, like on one of the highest paid managers in the league. It was probably one of the biggest severance packages they had to pay out. We've seen them get it wrong with the manager appointment. Do you feel, and even with their recruitment, they've got some good young players coming in now, but they're still bringing in some older players, Tottenham, who aren't going to be there in 3 or 4 years. There's no real sale value on Perisic. Do you know what I mean? Whereas what we're doing now, there should be a resale value on every single player we brought in. So do you feel, actually, take away the performance on the pitch, do you feel actually the appointment of these two has been a very good appointment for Arsenal?
I agree with what Rezi and Brenny said. At the time, no, I wanted Ancelotti. And I won't change that decision. And well, what he's achieved, after his blip at Everton, has shown that he's still got it as a manager. But having said that, he would have wanted what he needed straight away. And I feel like if you look at Chelsea now, and if you look at Arsenal, and if you look at United, and you look at Spurs, all of those teams, the reason why they got left behind with Liverpool and City, we've been delaying the inevitable, which is the need to hit the reset button.
We've been papering over the cracks, haven't we? Rather than filling the cracks.
We won the FA Cup. It papered over the cracks of needing to hit the reset button. United, with the Europa League, they were like, yeah, Jose, he's doing good for us because he's winning trophies, but he destroyed that dressing room. He drove a sword for it. And they've been robbing Peter to pay Paul ever since. Ollie got them a couple of top 4 spots, had them thinking that they didn't have the problems that they had, and they recruited badly. In the second season, he did get the Champions League, and look where they are now. And I'm not making this a slander session at all. I'm just saying, they what they've needed to do, what we've needed to do, what Spurs have needed to do, and what Chelsea have needed to do is hit the reset button. You look at Chelsea now; their squad is the remnants of 2 or 3 managers. That's how our squad was at the beginning of when Arteta came. And I get sick to death of hearing he finished 8th, then he finished 8th, then he finished 5th. He spent 400 million. Well, he only spent 150 million of that last window on 6 kids and the rest of it now. So it's not even 400 million, one. And number 2, he's not the bulk of what he spent it on in this window hasn't even played a Premier League game yet. So why do you keep bringing up money he spent? Because in his first 2 windows, he didn't get money. He was hamstrung. He was told, all right, you want to cleanse the squad, get rid of the players first. Reduce the bill first, yeah? Make space. We ain't no City. We ain't no Chelsea. Chelsea had £1.6 billion worth of debt. Ron was like, yeah, don't worry about it. We ain't in that position. Yeah, so when we're benchmarking on what other teams are doing, we shouldn't be. And I get tired of telling people this, man. Like, we had to drain the swamp. And whilst other clubs have skirted around that issue, because Chelsea now, Rudiger's left, Christiansen's left, Jorginho, Kante, they got their best years behind them. You know, like they got no winger. You know, Lukaku, the £100 million finishing piece. Good luck with that. How did that pan out? Yeah. So
They got
now
50 million
they're,
Werner. Do you
they're
know what I mean?
further behind when they bought the finisher than, you know, after sending the finishing piece back to Inter Milan than they were when they bought the finishing piece. And it's because of what I'm saying. They've been hiding behind the fact, no one's taking away a Champions League. I want to see Arsenal win a Champions League. But it's like, you know, it's a bigger scale of what I'm saying with us in the FA Cup. We thought we had a lot less to do winning that FA Cup than we had to. Yeah. And we got the reality check the next season and we started draining the swamp after that. And so Arteta, with hindsight of what Arteta and Edu have done, they've drained it. They've still got a lot. I think like Leno's got to go. I think Bellerin's got to go. I think Mari's got to go. I think Holding's got to go. I think Cedric's got to go. I think Ainsley Maitland-Niles got to go. I think Pepe's got to go. Torreira's got to go. And I think at some point Xhaka will have to go. Yeah. So there's still a lot more draining to do, but we're looking healthier. You know, and as you said, we're bringing in players now that have their best years in front of them, not behind them. Yeah, like that's what we've needed to see at Arsenal, and that's what these other clubs are going to need to see at their club as well. And that's their business, by the way. You know, like they want to sit here and say that I'm on my high horse talking nonsense, whatever. Yeah, I don't business. Yeah, because to be honest, that's what is separating the top teams. You know, like they've got the plan, the system, the style of play that they want to use, and they're realizing that it doesn't take 1-2 seasons. It takes 3-4 years of meticulous planning, constant investment to make that possible. But it also needs innovation and forward thinking. You know, a modern style of looking at football. Yeah, which Arteta has and Edu have invariably. They're not the best. No one's sitting here saying they're world-class managers. No one's sitting here saying that if they mess up, that they're not replaceable, because they are. But if you look at the Colorado Rapids and you look at the Rams, it was the same thing. A 4-year projected plan under an up-and-coming, you know, usurper that is looking to prove themselves as a manager. Back them for 4 years. And that's how they got the Super Bowl. And that's how they got the Stanley Cup. So maybe, you know, the Kroenkes know more than we gave them credit for. And I'm still saying maybe. I'm still saying maybe. But the signs are there, man.
No, and definitely, again, I know we'll keep going. Guys, if any of you need to bounce as well, feel free to bounce. Me and Gunner King might just keep going back and forth because I'm enjoying this thoroughly. But again, what you're saying about meticulous planning is Liverpool, they've been dominating for a few years, and now you're starting to see a couple of players getting older. Milner's up in the 30s. Henderson's getting near there. Salah, what means getting Mane was obviously on the way out. We didn't know if he was leaving or getting earlier. Yeah,
Alisson in his late 20s.
So you're starting to see their rebuild
Fabinho's
now.
in his late 20s.
They brought in Diaz, they brought in Carvalho. They're bringing in, they got Curtis Jones coming through. So they're starting their rebuild now. So when them guys do leave in 2 years, their other guys coming in is seamless. City, very similar. City Strods where it needs to be. And actually, if you look at their transfer,
the same for VVD. When VVD drops off, he's in the squad now, integrating already, understanding the ethos of Liverpool and all that. You know, so.
Yeah, you can see. So that's the meticulous planning, and that's where I think we're trying to get to. And again, it's the resale value. You see what business City do. City have brought in probably the most sought after striker after Mbappe, and they brought in Nunez, and they're probably bringing Cucurella, and they've probably made money at the end of that window because they sold, they brought in, so they've got a resale value on their players. And this is how Arsenal will get better. Is one day we will have to sell a Martinelli or a Saka or ESR. One of them will go in the next 2 years, I would say. But actually, the money we might get for them might end up buying you the next VVD and the next Addison. Do you know what I mean? And that's where they are. Like, no one wanted to see, Liverpool fans didn't want to see Coutinho leaving. But if you look what's happened off the back of that, look where they are now. So
he didn't want to see Eden Hazard leaving.
Yeah. And again, how you spend your money is very important. And I think these two are kind of getting it right. Even if they leave, the position they've put Arsenal in going forward
is better.
Is a lot better than where we were. And so for that, you have to give the Kroenkes credit for believing in them too. And actually, when Arteta went through that patch where was it 10 games where we didn't win, we could have pulled the trigger on him there, and no one could moan if they pulled the trigger. But the long-term plan wasn't that season. It was what we're seeing for the 2022-23 season, not what was happening in the 2020-21 season. it was a long-term project, and they let him see it through. Again, it might not come to anything. I can't. No one knows what's going to happen next season, but we could all agree the club's in a healthier position.
And
the wage goes lower, and we have players that will generate money for us if we sell them.
If it doesn't work out, like you're saying, with the managerial side and with Edu, then what you've got is, I feel like if we had got the move for a manager would be less lateral. If we said after he came 8th again and got knocked out of the Europa League semi-final, if we had gone for a manager then, we would have got someone more lateral, more on closer to Arteta's level, maybe a Potter, maybe a Rodgers, someone like that. But if you look at Man United when they needed a new manager, and if you look at Chelsea when they needed a new manager, because their squad was infinitely better, they're able to attract these higher level caliber of managers, because the higher level caliber of managers actually look at the squad and they're like, right, there's good young players there. There's a world-class player or two there. I think I can work with that guy. Whereas if we had done it then, it would have been like, well, what are we walking into? Do you know what I mean? We just finished 8th. The squad is on its floor. There's so much that needs to be done. The quality of manager you can garner and attract at that stage would have been a hell of a lot worse than now. Say if, I don't know, December, let's just say we're not doing as well as we should be. But at least then, looking at that squad then, compared to looking at the squad when we finish 8th, and looking at what you can work with, it's going to look a lot better. The squad's going to look healthier. The players are going to look better. The youngsters are going to look like ones that can be developed into high caliber level players, and just the direction of the club in terms of like the backroom staff, the setup, just the scouting, the way that the whole club is actually set up is more geared towards not being self-reliant or sufficient on a manager, because what City and Liverpool are building and what Chelsea are trying to build, and they're not far. I'm not under no illusion, is a team, a football club whereby if a manager leaves, the transitioning is seamless. A new manager can come in, but the whole setup is geared towards being able to give the manager what he needs to be successful. And Man United and Arsenal learned the hard way that was something we didn't really cater for when Sir Alex Ferguson and Wenger left, respectively. And we paid the price.
Gunnar, just hold your thoughts there. We've got to say goodbye to Brezzy. He's got things to do today. We've gone way over, but we're going to keep rolling. We might have a special guest bouncing in a minute as well. Brenny, you cool to stay or you looking to bounce, my brother?
No, I'm still here, man. I'm still here.
All right, he's here for it. So yes, guys, this was a match reaction. We're going to record it now. I'm going to speak to Tony afterwards because we might have to chop it and turn this into something different because we've gone way off course, but I'm loving every minute of it. And people are still tuning in and commenting, so we're going to keep running. But Brezzy, thank you very much for joining us.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, good luck with everything. I know you've got a few things you need to get done, so I hope that all goes well for you.
Have a good one.
Not too much stress.
Thank you.
We'll speak in a week.
Yeah. Bye.
Take it easy, man.
Nice. Yeah, so while we're still here, I'm waiting for to see if this other guy jumps in. We can have a good discussion with him. He's one of my favorites, man. So hopefully he jumps in a second. But in terms of, obviously, I spoke about expectations, and I'm saying it's a points thing rather than a position thing, and that's only off the back of what everyone else is doing. If Tottenham didn't move like that, how they moved this window, I would say we've got to go past them this year. But the way they've moved, it's very similar to how we've moved. So actually, it's going to be very tight. Chelsea are obviously Chelsea, and we got this guy coming in, and let's see how he feels about things, and if he can give us a bit of insight into their preseason and how he feels about transfers. So, no further ado, I've got my guy here. He was in the comments. I said he's obviously got a lot to say because he's typing. So let's get him on the stream instead. Mr. Monday Dreamer from the Man United Agenda. How you keeping? You all right?
I'm great, Gumsa. Nice to see you, bro. Happy Sunday. So we'll say big up to my man, Gunner King. How you doing, man? I'm not here to bump heads today. That's our war is never ending. It's ongoing. And I want to say maximum respect to a man who I've got a lot of respect for. I've known him since I was like 10 years old. and his brother, wonderful people, good stock. That'd be Brendan Winter. Big up, man. It's lovely to see you on the Armoury channel. We go way back. I've always had respect for you, man. You carry yourself so well, and yeah, you're like a brother to me.
Appreciate it, man.
Great to see you in good health, looking well, man.
You too, bro. You
don't
too.
know about the Tom Selleck moustache, but yeah, it's a
But yeah, Monday, thank you for coming on. Again, this stream's gone into a complete different direction. We will chop it up, so I'll get Tony to kind of make this into a fresh stream after, so we put it out. But we're kind of talking a bit more than what we're seeing on. If we can all see what's happening on the pitch at the moment, and I think with you guys, you're in the same position where you're looking a bit better under Ten Hag. Give us a bit of a breakdown of what changes he's made to your team, and what you're expecting this season. Obviously, we know you're still actively in the market. It looks like we've done a lot of our business already. You guys are kind of at the start of getting your business done. Tell us about your new signings. I'm hearing good things about the left back. Is it Malacia? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
I'm hearing really good things about him. So yeah, just give us a quick 5-10 minutes about how your squad's looking, what you expect to see come in, what you need to replace still.
Right. So first of all, let's talk about transfers. The major transfer, the most important thing, happened like last October or November when we lost 5-0. We sacked Ole Solskjaer because it wasn't good enough. We've been winging it for years, Gumsy. You know this as a coach, top coach. You know that we've been winging it. It's all right bringing players in, but they're bringing into a system that doesn't work. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like putting good parts onto a Rolls Royce parts onto a Mini or something like that. It just doesn't fit. We've been all over the place, really dysfunctional as a football club. So what's happened is they made a decision a long time ago, bringing Ralph as a mediator and a part-time coach, and not just that, a troubleshooter. Ralph came in last year as a troubleshooter to fix the club, to start to cleanse the club and identify where the areas, because this is a guy who can run football clubs. You can see his CV, and people say I haven't been a coach for so long, but that wasn't his necessary role, is to fix the club from internally, because there's a lot of poison in the club, and he's done a good job. You've seen the key staff leaving the club that've been there. They've been bedded in for a long time now. We've seen like coaching changes. We've got a new technical director, new managing director, new sporting director. All these new faces have come in. And also we've got like a video data analysis. People weren't doing that. We had a motivator, all these things, all these modern things. We've had to step up. We've been living in the dark ages, and that's why we've been performing so poorly, but having good players, but performing so poorly. A lot of our fan base have written off a lot of players, and even myself, like Martial, and I think because they lost their motivation playing for a club that's got no drive. Look at how they treated Pogba. Pogba's still regarded as one of the best midfielders in the world, in most people's opinion. But we've just not utilised him correctly. Same with Martial and all these guys. Rashford's just gone off the boil. And you lose your motivation. It's like being at a job, repetitive job, conveyor belt job, over and over and over. You know you've got more skill than this, but it's just not performing. So I want to give thanks to Ralph Rangnick. He started the process. He's obviously given a handover to the new boss, who we probably knew was coming in from February time. Obviously, he can't declare that. It's like he can't make that statement. But this has been a long planning thing. And as Gunnar King was saying earlier, he was talking about 4-year plan and what Arsenal are doing at the moment. We've had to do it really quickly to catch up because we realise the issues that we've got. So since February, we tried to make the right changes. And then people say, what's going on here? Oh, we're playing poor. Last season didn't matter. We just, we've got rid of like at least 12, 13 sort of players around the first team squad. Even Matic had a year left his contract. We let him go because it's about planning. And now we've got a manager in who's the best transfer we've had in a long, long time. And I can see, I'm not boasting up, I'm not here to boast up about preseason games or anything like that. We did beat Liverpool 4-0, but it's not just that. As a Man United fan, I can see how he's tweaked our side. It's all about system. I've got his book. Where is it? Somewhere. So what I've been doing over the last few months is learning on the Man United agenda. We've been trying to learn, say what we see. Do you understand what I'm saying? Unfortunately, we're not blessed to have Gunnar King and Gumsa and tactical geniuses on the show, on our show, to define what's going on, So we have to learn ourselves, say what the change here, what are we seeing here, what's the difference?
The top manager, man.
I'm saying, what's the difference with the manager coming in? What's he bringing? So, just for example, it's a system change. We've got the same players, but the system change. So obviously, he brings the ball out from the back. There's some issue we had last year. We got overrun by Liverpool because they high press. Arsenal do the same. A high press puts us under pressure, and we don't have any formulas to sort of bring the ball out. That's been changed. Now we've got that. We're press resistant. We've got players in there who can sort of it's like a set piece drilled into their head. They know how to bring the ball out. They know what they're supposed to be doing, and the manager will be on his technical area, dictating that, being training, dictating that, so it gets drilled into us. So for starters, we're going to be we're going to be more press resistant against higher press teams. And then once you do that, as we saw with Real Madrid in the Champions League final, after 15 minutes against Liverpool, they soaked it up, said, yeah, all right, keep coming. And after a while, they had to ease up, and then suddenly they got into the game. And this is what we have to do, because that's something that was a major issue. Then in the midfield, we've got a guy, hopefully like Frankie de Jong, who's going to come in and be that player, playing from deep, bringing the ball out with that quality, and also pick and play like we've seen with triangles, creating little triangles where we can build up the play. And we play kind of narrow. It's going to be kind of narrow. It's going to be what we've seen so far is a 4-2-3-1 or something like that, but mixed. I'm not going to put a stamp on it because there's variations while you're playing the game. So when you've got the ball, it's different to when you haven't got the ball. When you have got the ball, you get back in, you go compact. And as with Liverpool, the most attacking team, they couldn't score goals or create any clear-cut chances against us, which is a great indicator of how we're performing. So we can soak up teams. Then the way we're playing, we've seen goals where we can counter-attack really well. He plays horizontal passes, bam, 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 very quickly, a bit like Ranić did, and we're scoring goals. We see Sancho, we see Rashford score really good goals on the counter. Then we've also seen us play, like I said, about the soaking up the play as well. So there's different variations of what we're seeing, which is really promising, you know. So in the midfield now, what we're seeing is these triangles, we're building up, we're creating, got more control of the game, and then the system will change.
Possession-based in general.
Yeah, so the system's going to change. We're training the ball. So where before we can string passes together now. So the major difference for me now is that we've got a rest defense. Now in the rest defense is a 5-man. So it's like 5 and 5. You have 5-man in defense and 5-man in attack. Just to keep it simple. Obviously, you know, there's 3 zones in the pitch. You've got the wide areas, you've got the half spaces and the central area as well. And there's lines as well. So the fullbacks will not be in line with a winger. You can never be in line with one another. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if I'm the fullback, I can't be looking straight ahead and the wing. The wing, there has to be rotations. So these are the rotations we're seeing, subtle movements from the players. So that's cancelled out. And it's so important, so important. So players like Luke Shaw getting Barney that from the sideline because they're not doing it. They have to get drilled into this. Also with the rest defense, we're playing higher up the pitch. That means we have 2 centre backs. In front of the centre back, we have Fred or the deepest line playmaker. And then the inverted fullbacks will come in. So that'll make a 2 and a 3. And that's the rest defense. So what these 2 players will do, this is why Malacia, you mentioned it earlier, is so important. So when the ball is turned over, he's going to be there to bite, pinch the guy, take the ball in, and he will be in the half spaces in those areas where he's been proven for final to play really well. And that's where you can keep turning it over. And then players are panicking. You look at the Fred goal against Liverpool. They panicked, couldn't clear the ball out with style. It came out to Fred, and he just dinked it in from the half space. These are the kind of examples we're seeing. So it's really promising about the rest defense. It's getting drilled in. It's about the shape of the team, the triangles, and the progression of play. A lot of our goals now are being passed across the 6-yard box to score goals, patterns of play. So it's very good to fall back on. And I'm just going to leave it there because I've got plenty more to say, but I don't.
No, that's cool. No, you gave us a great,
very promising what we're seeing.
Some good insight. Again, I've kind of seen highlights of your game. Again, I'm not sure, like working everything because I can't catch every single preseason friendly, but you lot definitely look a lot better. In terms of some of the players that I think if Ollie had his way, would have probably got rid of, they've now turned around and looking very, very promising. So looking at your Van der Beeks. Also looking at Sancho, he wouldn't got rid of him, but you know, he's looking a lot better. Martial's come back in and looks like a new man. And I think what you touched upon earlier of players being bored and just very repetitive, it seems like they've got a new lease of life. And I feel under Ten Hag, you've got to see some of these players look very good for you guys. However, is there still doubts about some? So you mentioned Luke Shaw maybe not being able to do what Ten Hag wants of him
at the moment.
Do you feel it's a case of you need to get rid of some of these players or give them a season, see who adjusts? And then with that being said, what's your kind of ambition for the season? Because if you're going to let this be a development season as such, to kind of have a look at who could do what, okay, this one fits, this one doesn't. What's your earmark for United? Like, would you accept 6th place? Because again, the league's not easy. Let's be honest. And even Chris said West Ham are quietly going about business. So 6th, 7th? Would you be happy with that if you could see the implementation and the change and actually know that there's a plan in place that next year we will be better because we're going to get rid of what didn't work and bring in what does work?
Let me just announce on a Sunday morning, I am now officially the disciple of Ten Hag. Okay, that's official. So I endorse him, I support him. So I do. Whereas before I thought it could take a long time, 3 or 4 transfer windows for him to bring the right players in. But the system's the most important thing. You can have a bunch of disorganized players, put them into a good system, suddenly they're playing good. You can have a bunch of average players, put them into a good system. This is why we have the FA Cup 4th round. Put them into a good system and organise them for one game and they can beat a Premiership team. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about system. This is why managers are paid. Managers should be paid the most. You know, forget the players. It's the manager. This is what we're seeing right now under Ten Hag. So I'm gonna say it now. I think we can get top 4 based on what I'm seeing right now because the system changed. If you look at the players, if you can revitalise players and reignite them, you know, and get them playing back again, as you said, about motivation, spiritually, emotionally, physically, get them back on board. These are good players we have here. Players that still, under shitty system, excuse my language, sorry, but still came second in the season, regardless of circumstances, COVID, whatever. And then we came third twice as well, under poor management. You know what I'm saying? So it shows you, Harry Maguire, everyone disses him. He was destroyed last year. Individually, he was getting exposed for his weaknesses, which everyone knows he has. So he can be revitalized in a system. Everyone says he can't play a high line. Of course he can. Of course. I mean, this is ridiculous. People just, it's like we always get mocked. Martial, I wrote him off because I just said, no, his spirit's not there anymore. But he's come back in. He's recharged. He's like he's baptized again, you know. They put his head in the holy water and say, you're free, you know. And that's how it's been for a lot of the players. So a lot of the senior players we thought were written off, they're back. They got, and it's not for me to say. I can judge by watching the games, but it's down to the manager. That's what I'm saying. I'm a disciple of him. I have full faith in what he believes in and what he wants. And if he wants Anthony, if he wants Frank de Boer, not Frank de Boer, Frank de Jong. We don't want Frankie de Boer.
Are you sure?
Yeah, unless he's passing to Bergkamp from 60
yards. He's about the same height.
Argentine against Argentina in '98. If he's doing those sort of passes, maybe.
He's about the same height as your new centre back, isn't he?
There's the same centre back you guys wanted, but yeah. Like I say, it's like I think there's so much. It's really refreshing for us, for our fan base. A lot of us are getting to it, really excited. But if you can evidence why you're excited, like I'm trying to now, and look at the little subtle changes that we're making. It's not subtle, major changes we're making. You know, it's like we're born again, and a lot of these players born. But the most important factors, Gumsa, and you guys, because I'm going to end it now. I want to hear your views as well. So I'm saying 4th place. I'm saying some of the players can be revived. I'm saying there's going to be, as long as you can pick up and you're scared, you've got that fear factor of the manager. That's when you're going to start turning it on again. You remember these players? We're all in our 40s and thing, you know. So we're grown men. So like, these players are youths. They're 20 in their 20s. Some of them late 20s, whatever. They're still young men. Remember how you were when you were that age. You still have to respect your elders and everything else. So if you have a manager come in that you respect and you can see results and everything else, and you know you're going to get dashed out if it doesn't happen, then that fear will create discipline and professionalism, which will help us. But the two signings I want to see is Frankie de Jong, because I think he would be instrumental to the system. Yeah, regardless, his role will be instrumental to the system that we play. So if he comes in, there's a reason we've been pursuing him so long and being so obsessed with getting him, because he's going to be key. We will improve tenfold with him in the side. And I know we bumped heads about this, Gunner King. And I know we've closed the book now and everything else.
Yeah, it's not the show for that.
You make good valid points and the thing. We just have to wait and see about this role. But I just think I think it's so crucial, because you need a player there who's got all the attributes. And this is from Ten Hag himself, not me. He said Frankie de Jong is a rare player who's got that rare ability to play that role in his system. And that's why he's so persistent with it, getting him in. So we've also seen development of young players, even on tours. Zidane Iqbal, this is a player that usually we haven't managed correctly. We send him on loan, or end up like Angel Gomez, don't give him no love when he's really clearly ready, or like Pogba previously, and they end up leaving. So Zidane Iqbal, Charlie Savage, we've got a lot of youngsters like that all around the first team. We've got Garnacho and all these players there that will be they will be buzzing right now, knowing that I've got an opportunity here to prove, regardless of my age. You know, there's so many players that we've got quality in our squad, and that's good. Arsenal, Man United have great foundation of youth, and I really do appreciate what I'm seeing with your young players coming through as well. It's great you can fall back on that. So 4th place, happy with what the manager's doing. And yes, I agree. It's going to be a fantastic season. Everyone's strengthening, but I think we will surprise a lot of teams this year because the foundation was already there, tweaked a little bit or majorly, and we're going to see a major difference because the system, not the players, the system is everything.
I hear that. Right, Brenny, I'm going to bring you in. I know it's an Arsenal stream, but we're going to talk about United for a little bit. And we link it in with Arsenal. So what we went through last year, we saw Aubameyang was our main guy, let's be honest. When he signed the contract, we was all buzzing. He won the Golden Boot, joint top goal scorer 1 year. Got us to the FA Cup. I mean, 2 goals in the semi-final, 2 goals in the final. Was influential. And then just like that, it kind of all went wrong. He stopped scoring goals. He didn't have the best of seasons. Obviously, the fallout happens. And something similar is happening at United now with Ronaldo. Obviously, I'm not too sure what's happened. He's not at the club for personal reasons, I believe. Is that correct, on Monday? Is it personal reasons he cited?
Yeah, apparently it's personal reasons,
yeah,
but we obviously seen a lot of rumours and things. So that's another.
So I'm not too sure how true it is because again, he went through something which no one ever wants to go through. And fair play to him for coming back so quickly. But I think a few days later he was back on the pitch playing. So, and if he's not there for personal reasons, and that's correct, it might be very, very serious. Hopefully, it's not. It could just be he doesn't want to be there. We went through that with Aubameyang. Brady, what would be your advice to United fans? Because again, at the moment, we're not hearing too much about it because I think United are doing so well in preseason and no one's talking about it. But the moment things start to go wrong for United, people are going to say, we've got Ronaldo there, why is he not playing? Or what's your advice to him? Would you follow the Arteta mode of if you don't want to be there, get rid of him, just release him, let him go because actually he's more of a hindrance in the dressing room than him being on the pitch as such? What would you advise United if you was in that situation again?
For me, well, I would say I wouldn't get rid of him. I wouldn't get rid of him. I mean, Ronaldo for me, forget age. I mean, the way he plays football, he's had to obviously change the way he plays. The man's playing like he's 30, 31 years old. So he's still an important player for me as far as I'm concerned. And I think for United fans, I think he'll stay. And I think Ten Hag will obviously have words. He's always had words of him. And also, I just feel he's. I mean, Ten Hag said he's still got a role to play at the club, and I think with Ronaldo, he's probably right now. He's probably thinking he can see all the change at the club already. He can see the difference on the pitch in the pre-season. He's probably thinking, "Wow, this guy did wonders at Ajax as well. I want to be a part of that, even if it's for 1 year." I think he'll stay. Personally, I think Ronaldo will stay.
I think one thing you can't question Ronaldo on is his professionalism. I think that works in his favour. I can't see him down in tools because he's got a lot of self-pride, doesn't he? And he wants to be the best, regardless where he's playing, who he's playing for, what competition it is. He wants to be the top goal scorer and everything else. However, do you know what I mean? Do you think Ronaldo's personality works in the squad, Gunner? Like, if he is unhappy. Now, I agree with what Brenny's saying. He's got a part to play and he can be very vital. I think if he accepts that I can't press for 90 minutes, so actually you're better off letting Martial press for 60 and then let me come on and finish off. Like, it's going to be very hard for someone like him to accept something like that, but he could be a very, very useful player for United if actually let Martial do the donkey work and then let me come on when the defense is starting to tire a little bit. I could just come on and be clutch. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that's a role he would accept because he's Ronaldo, and why should I accept that role? But
he won't.
Do you feel it's almost there's got to be an agreement between the two to make it work? And do you think that would be difficult for Ten Hag to get that agreement with Ronaldo?
I mean, I've said it, and this is where we did bump heads. You know, like a couple of days ago, me and Amondi. Like, you know, I agree with what he was just saying because it's the same thing at Arsenal. Like, we invested emotionally in a system. Aubameyang is a better finisher than any finisher we've got at the moment. He's a better finisher. There has been a period in his career where he was world class. For 5 seasons in a row, he got 20 plus goals in a league season. Only 3 or 4 strikers have done that in the last decade. Suarez, Ronaldo, Messi, Lewandowski. Yeah, like, but for the system that we are using, and what you've got to remember is Ten Hag and Arteta are branches from the same tree. You know, like they've got links with players or ex-managers of Barcelona in Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola and Arteta were both La Masia Academy products. So that, you know, they were there around the Rijkaard time, you know, when Cruyff's influence was there with the club, and the whole possession-based style of play, the whole rest defense where your line is higher and where there is fluid player positioning and transitioning, where you need to work off the ball as well. I just think United are better off just cutting ties. You know, like the guys look, for me as well. My philosophy has always been, and I've seen it with Henry, I've seen it with Nasri, I've seen it with Fabregas, I've seen it with Ashley Cole. The list can go on, and we get bantered about it. But I tell you one thing right now: I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. If you come out and say you don't want to play for this club anymore, get gone. I don't want you there. I don't want you there. Like, I'm sorry, bro. Like, if you listen, we are red clubs. I banter Man United all the time. But I respect Man United. I respect their history. I respect their traditions. I respect the rivalry that we had. I respect Liverpool. You know, like, it's Chelsea and Man City's. I will never sit here and be happy about Manchester turning blue, ever, because the way they come up, it disgusts me. I detest them. The only reason I go at it with Man United fans more is because of the history we have as rivals. But that hell will freeze over before that City turns blue, bro. And that's the way it should always be.
Yeah.
But the thing is, this is what I'm trying to say. When I say to you, Amondi, and you butt heads with me, and I say, no player should be bigger than your club. You need to really understand that, like, who you are. You're Manchester United. You used to say that to us all the time. We're Arsenal. They're Liverpool. We are the house, bro. We're the house. Yeah. What, we want to have people sat on our bench that say they don't want to be? We're not Tottenham Hotspur. They kept playing against his will. And look at Kane's form. It dipped until Conte came in. Fair enough. I'm not saying a manager can't come in and change that perspective and that mindset. But we're better than that, man. We are better than that. We shouldn't have players coming out and saying they don't want to play for us. We should have. We've got players. There's a line. There's a line. As long as all of our arms put together, the players that want to join Arsenal and Man United, no matter what state we're in, because of who we are. And players need to respect that. I don't care if they're Ronaldo. I don't care if they're Henry. I don't care if they're Vieira. They got to respect that. We're big clubs.
I hear that. With that being said, what do you reckon because again, it's no secret, Ronaldo and some of the United players butted head last year on Monday. And I think there's no secret of that. Do you think, again, this Ten Hag has obviously had a positive effect on these players, but do you also think the stance he's taken with Ronaldo would help to say, actually, I like how, not saying they treated Ronaldo, but again, we're not going to pander to him. I think everyone else pandered to Ronaldo last year. I think Oli pandered to the fans. I'm going to play these players the fans want to see, rather than actually say, Donny van der Beek's the best player in that position, I'm playing him. And actually the rest of you need to fix up because Donny's staying in the squad. Do you think the style of manager will make the other players feel, actually, I've got a chance under this manager. He's not going to do what Ollie's done, where he's just had his favourites and played them as such. Like, again, we see it with Bruno and Pogba. Bruno played that position rather than Pogba never got a chance in that position. It was always Pogba play on the left wing, Pogba go and play there, Pogba do something you're not comfortable doing. Do you feel like I can see the difference in Sancho, I can see the difference in Martial straight away, and do you feel the manager taking that stance of no players bigger than this club will have a positive impact on those young players? Because I see it happening at Arsenal. So do you feel that will have a similar effect on these young players going forward and make them want to fight for the manager because they believe in him? You know what I mean? It's not Ronaldo's down tools, but we're going to still play him because he's Ronaldo. It's like, oh, actually, you go over there. I trust you youngsters to come in and deliver.
Yeah, so first of all, I just want to say regarding Arteta, because the first point you guys made was about Banyang and how he handled that situation. I remember Brendan was talking about that. And I think that's really I have to salute Arteta, the way he dealt with it. As Gunnar King was saying, he's the best finisher still at your club, you know. And you think, well, we need this guy. Why should we just cater for his bad professionalism and what he was doing outside or turning up late and all kinds of negative influence that he could have on the thing? So the man made the sacrifice by taking him out of the club, put him on the bench, all that kind of thing. He made it clear. And I thought, wow, this is respect. You have to respect Arteta for stepping up like that. That shows what a manager is really supposed to be like. As you said, in contrast, you're talking about Gunnar Ola Solskjaer, who was cutting their toenails and powdering them, that kind of thing. That's there's a difference. And you, after a while, it might be good for a minute, but after a while, you lose respect for this guy and you end up disrespecting them. So that I totally agree with Arteta, the way he dealt with Bangin. And you might say, oh, look at him, he's doing it at Barcelona. Look at all these nice moves he's finishing off and everything else. Forget that.
Yes, he doesn't work in that system.
Exactly. Now you've got a guy in Tetier, is it? What's his name?
Nketiah and Jesus. To stop
forget Jesus, because he's a baller. But Nketiah has got an opportunity. The window's open for him, saying, "Look, he's seen it because people want to see consistency. He's seen if you perform well, if you turn up and train, you show that attitude, correct attitude and professionalism." You're going to get an opportunity. Lo and behold, he's got a new contract because he played well and he was persistent and professional, didn't complain and didn't get caught up in all this outside stuff, So fair play to him. So we talk about Ronaldo as well. This is a difficult one because I can only speculate about it. My point, which I was bumping heads with Gunnar King, was if Ronaldo is able to get on board with what we're doing, he can have an effective role in the side. Now, people might say he's detrimental, as you mentioned earlier, to other players. Maybe it's his personality. Maybe he's undermining players, or maybe like we've got a captain in Maguire. Maybe didn't have the stature to stand up to Ronaldo, and it's a bit intimidating, isn't it? This greatest player. If Pele walked into my five-a-side team, or not Pele, Messi or someone like that turned up my five-a-side, I'm gonna pass in the ball. That's what I'm saying. You get starstruck and everything else. So I think that will change under management. So my point was, if Ronaldo can do everything that all the other players can do that have played under Ten Hag, strikers, in that role. So my example would be this. I've watched 4 games now with Man United, with Martial playing as central. Martial, so I'm just doing that example. I'm not going to talk about Haller or anyone else. I could do, but it's the same thing applies. Like I was trying to explain about system. So we've got 3 guys up front. We talk about rotations. So when we've got the ball, we've got 2 number 8s, and the rest defense behind that. So it's be 5. You've got the 2 number 8s. In front of them, you've got the main striker and 2 kind of wide men who are playing in the half spaces. That kind of thing. Or playing a bit wider. It depends where they go. So that's 5 against the opposition. And then if they give the ball away, you've got the rest defense to pick it up and turn it over again. So Martial's role is he comes deep. And what he's doing is he's either pinning down defenders or he's coming deep and drawing defenders out which creates spaces and stretches the back line. So if one defender comes out with Martial, and it's not like mobility where you need to be sprinting out. He just comes out, drifts out, gets the ball, links it up, 1-2 touch, and then there's space in behind, which has been created because the defender will go with him. So you were seeing this. I'm going to do a breakdown. I'm doing my breakdown every Tuesday now, and I'm influenced by you because I respect you so much.
Love it. Love it.
So that's why I'm coming through like that. Maybe we can do a little collaboration.
Yeah, definitely.
Just to go through things. It's all love with the game. So I've been really studying and looking at it and saying, okay, so Ronaldo could do exactly that. And he did it last season as well. When people say pressing and all this kind of thing, the team are pressing. It's about the team pressing, not just about one player. So Ronaldo might be on the page here, right? I'm going to press and everything else. And afterwards, why the fuck am I doing this? And he was so disrespectful with the setup. He said, these players are shit. You know what you like when you're playing with team? You're shit, man. I will do it. What? I play centre back. If I play for poor teams, they keep getting the ball away, and I'm gonna have kids doing all the donkey work, running back for you. I'm gonna say to you at half time, you're shit, bruv. That's what I'm gonna say until you get it right. So Ronaldo's got that same kind of thing, personality. So it's a subtle movement. So he's got a role to play. The role he can play, he can still do it. 37 years old. Same as Martial. You didn't see Martial getting in behind and sprinting down the channels or running corridors or that kind of thing, running channels or getting in behind or anything. Don't see that. That's coming from the wide men. Rashford coming across the line and getting in behind. There's a system in place which will enable Ronaldo to be effective, not just for himself to score goals, but to link up and bring others into play where the goals are shared around the team. I believe, and I can't evidence that. I can only evidence that by what I've seen in the games, and I can't evidence that unless he comes back and proves it throughout the season. And that's what you've got to wait for. So it's just a speculation talk. All respect to you, Gunnar King. I love the bumping heads because it's about difference of opinion of what we're seeing. You can evidence say, well, these stats suggest that he doesn't do the pressing, or he hasn't got that in his game, or he hasn't got mobility, hasn't got the mobility. My main point was that he in this system, because the manager himself said, I can work with this guy. I've got a role for him. in this system, I think it can work, benefit everybody in the team. But it's all about Ronaldo, whether he wants to get on board with the Europa League 6th place team, or does he want to go to the Champions League?
That's what, yeah.
It's
That's
not
the
just
main.
that as well. Like
If he gets on board, it's gonna happen.
Haller legit was one of the most important parts of Ten Hag's system because of that ability to drop deep, because of that ability to sometimes he would drop deep into midfield, he would start off and move from there, and he's still got that mobility and those legs and that ability to then break into the box and get on the end of the move at the same time. And what I've said is, yeah, Ronaldo can press for like high up the pitch, but like not to the extent like the work rate of Haller without Haller being a better player than Ronaldo, because he never will be. Never will be. And I hope he gets better because, the testicular cancer that he's got and stuff, but this is what I was saying, like systematically, stylistically, Ronaldo and Ober are similar. Like Ronaldo stylistically isn't a Ten Hag striker. If you look at the strikers that he has and the mold of them, yeah, like they can do more than just operate in the box. And like I'm not saying Ronaldo's game is entirely limited when he's not in the box, because it's not, but just the extent of the work that is needed in a focal point of that striker, because it carousel wheels as well in a similar way that Pep does, where it like tilts on its head, where sometimes he's finding himself in the channels as well as finding himself deeper in midfield. And then, that wide player, Anthony, is then kind of rotating into the box, and to be able to keep up with those quick transitionings, like that quick fluidity of movement. That's why I've said, like, Martial's not a better player than Ronaldo, never will be either. But because he has that ability when he's being coached well, because he does have moments where he is a bit casual, where he does down tools, where he's a bit lazy as well. But what I've seen in the preseason games, especially the Palace game, is that if he's got the, if the rod is being used as well as the carrot to manage him, he's got that. He can move. He's got that like intelligence to be able to pick up the different positions, and he's got the legs to be able to do it, and he's got the technical ability to be able to pick out a pass and shoot as well. Like, so for me, I just think Ronaldo definitely, coming in 50, 60 minutes for tired legs can do a job. But this man is, we've seen the ego of the man, and he's not the man that's going to sit there on the bench, and play that bit part role and be happy. And then, we saw that with Ober, like when Ober lost his place, the mumblings start becoming louder and louder, and it starts influencing the other, it starts becoming the Ober show, like where it was just like, this is actually putting at a detriment the development of the younger players and the system on the pitch. And then on top of that, Lacazette came in. He's not a better striker than Ober. He's not a better finisher than Ober. But our shot creating chances, our shots on goal, our touches in the box, our possession, all of those metrics. We've done loads of shows on it, Gumsa, where I actually presented metrics to show that we're actually playing better as a
Everything
team.
goes up. Yeah.
We're playing better as a team without this one individual who is better, like as a footballer, than most of our attacking players. Because Ober still is. And
I always said it in the streams. If you give Ober and Lacazette the same amount of game time, Ober will score more goals than Laka, but the team will score less. With Laka in, he'll score less goals, but the team will score more. And I think that's what Gada King's maybe trying to put across is in Ronaldo. Ronaldo will always score whatever level.
When we're saying it, like it is a first-hand experience. Like
whatever level Ronaldo plays, he's going to score goals, isn't it? But will it be a detriment? And we saw that last year. The year before, you lot finished second, firing goals. Bruno's numbers were unreal. And then last year, everyone's goals dried up. However, Ronaldo helped himself to 20 odd in all competitions. So
Martial and Rashford's numbers that previous season were also very good.
Yeah. And again, the position showed you were second. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's not saying he's a bad player, but it's going to be interesting how you guys manage that. But before we wrap up, because we've been out here for two hours almost, me, Brenny, and Gunnar. But I just want to get your thoughts on. No, don't give me reasons. I just want 6 names, as in your top 6. So actually go 6 to 1. So he's going to come 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. I want to hear it. We're going to start with you, Gunnar King.
What, start from 6?
Yeah, who's coming 6th in the league? And what you've seen so far in the transfer window in pre-season.
I don't like making these predictions before the window closes.
Yeah, I know, but I just want just a bit of content, just because you've got a different fan on from another channel, so I want to hear what he thinks.
If I had to pick now at face value, and don't take this the wrong way, Monty, I would say United as 6th, and the reason being it's just a new, like everything's new, you know, like players, system. Like I think Ten Hag, you give him 3 or 4 years, he'll be a successful manager. Like, but I just think looking at what Arsenal, Spurs, and Chelsea have done, and they've all got managers that have been there like a bit longer in terms of like implementing their style and their system. I just think that puts them a bit ahead of the curve at the moment.
5th.
So yeah, 5th I would say. 5th I'm going to say Spurs.
4th.
Arsenal.
3rd.
Chelsea.
2nd.
Liverpool.
1st.
City.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, it's not easy. Brady, you look like you're stressed.
I don't even
I'm
wanna
coming
say
to
that,
you
man.
next.
Easy.
You look so stressed.
Not
Sixth
easy
place,
at all.
Brady.
Not easy at all. I'm going to be honest here for now, because the window's not done yet. I would say 5th. I would say United,
Or
because
sixth for United.
6.
I'd say 5th United. Reason being is because, but then again, they could surprise. And I do rate Ten Hag. I rate him highly. But like Gunnar King said, I think over the years they're going to get better and better and better.
Yeah.
Because now it's like they've got their own project where the signs are there. They're going to improve. I think for us, we would we'd get 4th. I still think Chelsea will finish 3rd.
Yeah.
Liverpool then City. I don't think Tottenham will finish in the top 5. I'm not just saying that because it's Tottenham.
Ooh.
I'm not just saying that because it's Tottenham.
Yeah, fair enough.
You
I'm
know,
wondering, we're coming to you next.
saying
6th
that.
place.
So 6th place, I've got Chelsea. I think Chelsea are going to drop off big time this year. They haven't got any centre backs. They're playing. Thiago Silva is pretty old now, and they're playing. They played back 4 yesterday against you guys. Or
They started with 4 and
they've
they went
got
to 5. Yeah.
to Alaba as well. And they need, at this current time, they need centre backs.
Well, they just signed Koulibaly, haven't they? He played yesterday.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, still,
Yeah.
I still think they need to strengthen that because they're going to be fighting in the Champions League and everything else. And I don't see the midfield is a bit stale at the moment. They need to revitalise the midfield. And Sterling coming in is great, but they don't have a focal point striker or someone who's going to get, I think, 20 plus goals. Werner, they're looking to release him. So there's a lot of dysfunction at Chelsea at the moment. That's why I think they could be out of it. I think they come 6th. Arsenal, I reckon, will come 5th. And this I say, it's not a banter thing or anything else. I think Arsenal, I'm to come on the show. I respect Arsenal Football Club. You know this already. I love what they're seeing. All the goals you scored yesterday, none of them are set pieces. Fluid, eye candy, get your tickets. It's going to be a great season, and you're going to be skinny teeth the whole season. It's lovely to see the rise, and thank God you've stuck with the guy to get to this stage now where it's a beautiful game. I just think you're going to fall down, just maybe because the balance of experience, you've got more youths. And, you know, you're going to be excited. You're going to be one of the most top teams to watch. But I just think you might fall off just based like last season on experience. You haven't really brought in experience. I know Vieira and all these guys, they're all still young. But it's going to be a great whirlwind of the season. I think Liverpool will come 4th. I think, I just think they've dropped off. They've sold Mane. They've got Carvalho. They've got these other guys. The midfield's bit. I heard you say earlier about Milner and all these guys. The midfield's a bit stale. They haven't really revitalised that. They've got Thiago. It's going to be too dependent on him. I don't think it's going to happen. I just think Liverpool, what's happened over seasons now with the Ten Hag style, he usually goes 7 years. He did it with Mainz, did it with Dortmund, and then he drops off. He's gone 8 years now, and I think he's going to have a drop-off because you need to transition and recycle with the team. That's what they're trying to do. You guys explained it really well earlier on the show. I was listening about bringing other players, the way comparing it to City and everything else. I think they're a bit behind that. So to get those 90-point seasons again, you need to be on it full fire. And I think they're like up front as well. This is going to take a time to really, refresh that. How do you replace Salah and all these guys? They can't continue like that. So I think they're coming 4th. Man United with 3rd. in my opinion. I think based on what I've seen so far, no bias. I just really think we've got the standard there. We can focus. We've got a manager now that can actually deliver. And I think after the end of the season, people were talking about this manager in the same light as maybe Pep and the other top guys like Klopp. Second place, I think Spurs. And I say this because they're building a team like they do in Italy. They build like pioneering players who are peak players ready to go. And that's what he's doing. He's like what he did at January. He brought in players ready to go and got the desired result by getting fourth place or wherever they come. I think that's what Conte is going to do. Might not last for 4 or 5 years. Might not be a dynasty here, but it might be a good one season where they get second place and really go fight for the title. I really believe in that. They got prime players, Kane, Song, Kulusevski. They've got midfielders now who can play. Bringing in Basuma, who's proven in Premiership. I think, and the fullbacks are getting better. The defense is really solid. So I think you've got a team there that can actually go really far, like they did in 2015, and really fight for the title kind of thing. I think they're ready to go. And obviously City are still head and shoulders above everyone else.
Yeah, fair enough. That's not a bad lineup. I don't know if you lot want mine. I don't really want to give it.
Yes, we do. Of course we do.
Just because I was doing this yesterday and I couldn't even, like, anything between 6th and 4th. I'm 3rd. I'm just like, it could go either way between us. Do you know what I mean? It could be one injury.
My one, 4th and 5th was interchangeable. I think, it could either be Tottenham or Arsenal. That I think it will be that.
Yeah,
that's the most questionable part in my part.
I'm gonna go 6th place, and this is just, again, based off what I've seen in pre-season. I'm gonna go Chelsea. There seems to be a few problems maybe in-house which we're not seeing. Tuchel's interview kind of showed a lot to me. That he's not happy with how things are going. Yes, they are going to throw money at it, but again, it's the age of some of the players they're bringing in, like Koulibaly. Yes, he's going to be good, but he is of an age. A long time, I don't think it's a great signing for them. But Chelsea don't worry about reinvestment and stuff. Do you know what I mean? They don't really fussed about what money they're making off players. They just throw money at it again. But for that, saying about, again, I don't think they've got a natural finisher. Even Sterling, as good as he is, he can miss chances. Havertz, quality player, but again, I can't see him as your main striker. And we've all seen what Werner's done in 2 years. I think that's a problem. One area I do like for them is their wing backs, but Chilwell can get injured a lot as well. So for me, and the midfield's aging as well. Again, that needs refreshing. So I don't know if they're going to keep Gallagher. He looks like a quality player, but I think that will need a refresh soon. So I think Chelsea I'm going to have them 6th. I'm going to have United 5th. Again, just because I think they will improve, and I think you're going to see a bit of Arsenal from them, where they might go on 5, 6, 7 games really, winning, and then they might hit a little dip, and that's just down to a new system, players trying to fit in, and again, not having his players. So, do you know what I mean? We've seen he wants to play that style from the back. I think Varane and Martinez should be starting centre backs potentially, but again, if they don't get the midfield pivot right, Fred and McTominay might struggle in what he wants them to do. But I do feel you're on the up. I do feel United will get back to where they need to be if they trust the process and just let him do what he's got to do and bring the players in he wants to bring in. So I'll go United there. Oh God, Arsenal and Tottenham. Arsenal and Tottenham. I've got to be real. I think Arsenal 4th, Tottenham 3rd. I think they're ahead of us. They were 2 points ahead of us in the last year. We can put that down to injuries to Partey and Tierney. I think we've addressed one, which we spoke about earlier. Tierney's been addressed, but we haven't addressed the Partey situation. And they have got 2 world-class players in that team, and they've built around it. So I think defensively, I think we're stronger. I don't really rate Longley. Jed Spence, obviously, first time in the Premier, looks like a player, but you never know. Left back, I don't think Perisic is going to play left wing back, and he's pretty decently getting on a bit. So I'll go Tottenham just ahead of Arsenal, Liverpool, and then City. It's going to be one hell of a season, though, and that is difficult. I don't think none of us got the same top 6, so it just shows how close it's going to be. And again, it could just be, do you know what I mean? Just could be down to anything really now, isn't it? I think what you will see though is each of the top 6 are going to have, I think, 6th place. What did you lot get last year points wise, Monday?
Well, we're 11 points off you, so whatever that, I can't recall. 54 maybe?
Yeah, something like that. I think you're going to see all top 6 above 65 points, I reckon. I'm going to go out there and say that. I think it's going to be a very high standard we're going to see this year. And just between FTB, before we wrap up, obviously we've got the Paxton Road lot, we got Cop Talk, we got the United Agenda, and we got the Armoury. Who do you think is the happiest at the moment with what they're seeing from their club? Because I think there's three of us are quite happy. I think Cop Talk, they should be where they are, but I think I think actually all four fan bases are quite happy. We need a Chelsea fan base because them lot have seemed like they're in the mud. So we need someone to pick on.
I'm working on that.
We need someone to be able to pick on at the moment. We can't pick on Spurs, we can't pick on United, and Liverpool are above us. So we need someone else.
I'm working on the Chelsea part as well. I know plenty of Chelsea fans, man.
I love that. But yeah, out of our channels, who do you reckon at the moment's probably the happier of what's going on?
Paxton Road for sure.
They're gassed in it. They're gassed in it.
Rightly so. This season, it's like gambling all your money on reds. You know, putting everything on red. That's what they do. Well, not red, in white in their case. You know, that's what they're doing for this season. Because I think that, as you saw with Shane coming on the show, that was a great show that you guys put out. And Shane was saying they can win the title. And I understand the sentiments where he's coming from. I understand it. I don't necessarily agree with it. I said they come second. But you can see this year, they're ready to go.
Do you know what? It's quite funny. I think the bias of Arsenal and Tottenham, it reflected in mine, Breddy's, and King's answer, because we could probably agree. You said straight, they're second, whereas we're like, we can't give them that props. Yes, they're where they are, but we can't give them that little bit extra. So
I don't mind. Yeah, like it's not like they've done terrible business, but as I said, I just think, I think Conte's record in Europe isn't great for one, and I just think juggling more, because when he came in, they were already out of a number of competitions. You know what I mean? Like, and I think he got them knocked out the FA Cup by Middlesbrough, and then they got knocked out of the Conference League, and I just think the whole season, like having to start, they're saying, yeah, we got a whole season of Conte and a whole season of Kulusevski being there. It's like, yeah, but you lot aren't realizing you got a whole season of juggling more competitions, and yeah, so do we. But the difference, Arsenal can turn around and say, we're going to play our under 23s in the FA Cup. We're going to play our under 23s in the Carabao Cup. We got credit in the bank. Man United can do the same. You know what I mean? Because they got credit. We ain't feasting out on FA Cups, and like we talk about, yeah, we won one more recently. That's kept our history ticking. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel Arsenal and United are going to put, and Chelsea are going to put all their eggs in two baskets: league form, Europe form. That's it. Tottenham don't have that luxury. They're like, we need to get this monkey off of our shoulder. Do you know what I mean? We need to win something. So they always do it. The last couple of years, you'll notice, why is Harry Kane playing in the 6th round of the Carling Cup? You know what I mean? Like, why are they giving him a full 90 and Son and all this? And like they keep doing it because, rightly so, they need to win something. They need to win something. I don't think they counter for that enough. That balancing of the squad based on, they got a bigger squad now and they got more players, but
what you find with them is what we found out last season, where it's that drop off in quality. Again, I think they've addressed it in midfield, and I think they're not bad enough. I think definitely Adam Bazuma helps them, but I think it's the defense, that rotation. If Romero comes out, it's like that's going to be the drop off. Do you know what I mean? Like even they're lauding Eric Dyer, they're lauding I heard Ben Davies, and to me, them guys, they're good, but they're not. Do you know what I mean? They're not levels in it like that. So I think that's going to be their drop off. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting season. And you know me already, I'm very neutral in things. Like I call a spade a spade. If someone's looking decent, they're looking decent. And Tottenham are improving. Like United are on the up, Arsenal on the up. So as I said, I can only look as a fan of football. I'm really looking forward to this season. Like, yes, I hope Arsenal get top 4. I wouldn't even be Arteta out if we got 80 points and come 5th, because that's an improvement. So actually,
I want us to win the Europa League. That's the main thing.
Yeah, I think also United have really got to fight for that. I think it's another. It might be. When have you seen a season with 6 such competitive teams? Like it's so you got to try and get in somewhere or another. And if that means Europe, then so be it. Do you know what I mean? I'll get there anywhere I can. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. But Brenny, what about you? Do you think the Paxton Road boys are the most happy at the moment?
Yeah, I mean definitely, because what Monday was saying, they brought in Conte's brought in experienced players for now. So maybe in time if they do deliver, maybe he'll bring in younger players as well as experience. So not that I care what they do, but I'm just being real. So yeah, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, of course they'll be happy at the moment. And to be honest, they've got to be happy. I mean, because for them, winning matches for them seems more important than trophies. But there you go.
Yeah, one thing I will say for them, I don't think teams they fear Son and Kane, but you don't fear Tottenham to a certain degree, and I think that's going to go against them because I think people will fear them a bit more, and I feel they're going to lack real creativity, and I think that's going to be their biggest downfall. And I think United went through it before when teams play a low block, and we've gone through it. When teams play a low block against us, we can't break it down, and then they hit us for one, and we can never get back in the game. And I watched Tottenham. I feel that's going to be their downfall. That reliance on the five at the back system. Like, I feel they need something extra. If they need to swap to a 4, they need a 10 who's going to be able to create, like a Maddison. I know they link with Maddison. I think if they can get him, then I'll be worried. Someone where they can change it. But I think at the moment, if you work out Tottenham's 5 at the back system, yes, they've got match with Kane and Son, but you can.
A legit baller though. That guy's a baller.
Oh, he's unreal. Yeah, they've got a great 11. But I think
he's brought a lot of creativity to the free, like the actual free, like you know, like I think.
But I think the issue is the bench.
If you look at what he brought in,
just quickly, there's like the bench, isn't it? You could go after that. I watch Eriksen come to United. So if it's not working with Bruno, you switch it. You got Eriksen or someone like that who can unlock. We see it with City the other day. They're struggling. Gundogan comes on and he bags 2, and I think that's where Tottenham might fall short. It's after that 3. Yes, they got Richarlison, but what else do they really have? And I think that's going to be the downfall of them. But no denying that 11 is looking strong as hell at the moment. So yeah, sorry, carry on, guys. Yours is the last point. Then we're gonna go. We're definitely gonna.
Yeah, I was just saying. Yeah, like obviously, like he was probably the difference maker when he came
definitely.
in. You know, like I think like the way he linked up the play with Son and Kane got them firing again. They were both in the middle of a drought. You know, like so. I think I think they've got the creativity there with him. And yeah, I think yeah, maybe a game-changing like creative midfielder would concern me with them a bit more. Perisic can definitely come in and play in the wide areas. He can play anywhere He can play anywhere. Like he can play like across the free. Like throughout his career, he's played centrally as an attacking midfielder
in pre-season. He's been playing wing back, hasn't he?
He's played wing back last season. Like for the last 2 seasons at Inter, he's been predominantly a wing back. But he's traditionally a midfield creative player, you know, like so. I think it's going to be interesting with Arsenal, Tottenham. I think Chelsea, those 3, you know, like I think, but we'll see, man.
Yeah, time to tell. But guys, right, we have to go because we've been here for a while. But I've loved the stream. I will try and get this chopped up into 2 separate streams because we went off on a different tangent. But you know what? It's so nice to be able to sit and listen to adult conversation about football. Like, do you know what I mean? It's a good chat. It's in depth. It's not reactionary. It's very, very intelligent chat, and that comes from having good, sensible people on these streams, man. I appreciate everyone's opinion. Brezzy as well. Big up for you as early. I know you had to shoot off, but guys, it's been a great stream on Monday. Thank you for jumping on last minute, and it's good to get an insight into you lot. And you know, what's nice is everyone's talking up the thing this year. So the bigger they come, the harder they fall. So if anyone does drop, you're gonna get it. There's gonna be lots of clips. There's gonna be lots of ammo for us to clip. So yeah, we'll see how we go on. But yeah, Monday, looks like you got something else to say.
Just want to say, everyone who's watching, I hope you enjoyed the stream because it's top quality. I mean, Armoury TV, big up to all you guys. You've got a tremendous panel, tremendous lineup, you know. Shout out to Trevor and all the other guys who are not here, James as well, and Bods. You know, great team you got here. It's going to be a fantastic season. I just want to say I really enjoyed this stream. Really enjoyed it. It's good, like you're saying, it's good to have some intelligent conversation. Reminds me of that Sunday supplement they used to have on Sky Sports in the morning. When everyone's calm and cooled down, you know. And I don't mind a ceasefire, but can we get back to battling now, me and Chris? You know, it's all right having a bit of friendly fire and all that kind of thing. But I want to get back to banter and all that kind of thing for the next week. But honestly, I've got maximum respect for what you guys do on the channel. Keep doing it. Keep going forward because people don't realize just how good this channel is and how much you cover. Not just Arsenal, but football on the whole. And it's a great addition having this old boy Eddie Murphy look like. On the show. Big up Brendan, Robert Townsend, Eddie Murphy. Looking good, man. And big up your brother. I know your brother's around as well. So it's been an honor to be part of this conversation. It's all love.
Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, man. Always.
Love.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for tuning in, guys. I've seen some of you been in the whole thing, the whole 2 hours. So thank you for spending your Sunday afternoon with us. Again, wasn't scheduled to go on that long, but when it's good conversation, we like to just keep rolling. Again, there's going to be a lot going on next week. Emirates Cup next Saturday. Also, you tune into the United Agenda because they have so much content. Every time I go on YouTube, you lot are live doing something. So big up yourselves as well, man. Like, it's a lot of love. So, guys, on that note, we're going to wrap up here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment. Actually, put your top sixes in the comments. Even if you're watching the stream back, put your top sixes in the comment. We want to hear what everyone's thinking because it is going to be interesting to see who's going to come out in that top 4. So, yeah, guys, on that note, appreciate everyone. Gunner King, Brenny, Amondi, and Brezzy. Love.